Chapter 774. Seeing the arrival of the fierce wolf, the people from the greedy wolf gang began to act arrogantly again. The people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion were furious. They did not believe that Lin Xian would lose. Bullshit! You are the lackey. Your whole family is the lackey. Even if our Dragon Sword Pavilion dies in battle, we will not submit. You still dare to be stubborn? Hua Tianyi sneered and slapped him. In the next moment, he was sent flying and crashed into a forest. Everyone was stunned, because the one who attacked was none other than the boss of the Greedy Wolf Gang, Fierce Wolf. Especially the people from the Greedy Wolf Gang. They were so scared that they couldn't believe what was happening in front of them. Hua Tianyi also got up and asked with a face full of surprise, "Boss, shut up. I don't have a useless little brother like you." The Fierce Wolf shouted angrily, "Useless thing, causing trouble for me all day long. Hurry up and apologize to Brother Xian and the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Apologize. Apologize." This time, it was the Dragon Sword Pavilion's turn to be stunned. This situation was a bit strange. Could it be? Everyone looked at Lin Xian, only to see the latter looking at them with a smile on his face. "Boss, have you been bewitched?" Hua Tianyi was also stunned. How could he apologize to the other party? So much nonsense. Are you the boss, or am I the boss? The Fierce Wolf shouted angrily, "Hurry up and apologize." And all of you apologize. The people from the Greedy Wolf Gang were all stunned. They never dreamed that such a day would come. However, facing the furious Fierce Wolf, they did not dare to rebel, especially Hua Tianyi. When he saw the blood on Fierce Wolf's clothes, his eyelids immediately twitched. Could it be he didn't dare to think further and quickly apologized? "Brother Xian, this time it was my fault. I apologize to you." Stunned. Everyone was stunned. The people from the Greedy Wolf Gang and the Dragon Sword Pavilion were all dumbstruck. Very quickly, the people from the Greedy Wolf Gang reacted and apologized one after another with a very humble attitude. Wang, Li, Dongfang Xiong, and the others' hearts were beating wildly. This happiness came too suddenly. "Brother Xian, are you satisfied?" The Fierce Wolf turned around and asked. "Brother Xian?" The people from the Greedy Wolf Gang were about to go crazy. Their boss was calling a new student Brother Xian. Moreover, he looked very humble, as if Lin Xian was the boss of the Greedy Wolf Gang. Dream, I must be dreaming. Many people from the Greedy Wolf Gang slapped themselves in the face, trying to wake themselves up. They could not accept such a scene. The people of Dragon Sword Pavilion were equally shocked, their hearts filled with incomparable joy. Look, that's their Brother Xian. Even the boss of the Greedy Wolf Gang bowed his head in front of him. Not bad. Lin Xian nodded slightly. "Remember, don't let me see you doing evil again. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." "Yes, yes." Fierce Wolf quickly nodded. He didn't look like the boss of the Greedy Wolf Gang, but more like Lin Xian's henchman. The members of the Greedy Wolf Gang were very sullen, but at the same time, they were even more frightened. What method did Lin Xian use to make their boss so humble and obedient? Lin Xian waved his hand and led the Dragon Sword Pavilion members away. After they left, the members of the Greedy Wolf Gang started to panic. "Boss, why? Why did you apologize? That's right, it would have been great if we had just killed them." The group of people were puzzled. "Shut up!" Fierce Wolf roared angrily. His body emitted a terrifying aura, scaring everyone so much that they didn't dare to say another word. Hua Tianyi frowned and asked in a low voice, "Boss, what happened? Are you injured?" "Injured." The members of the Greedy Wolf Gang were shocked and immediately became nervous. Their boss was an expert on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard. He was powerful. Who could injure him? Could it be another expert on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard? "We've lost this time." Fierce Wolf's face was gloomy. "That kid is too strange. I was careless and lost to him." "What?" Everyone was stunned. as if they had been struck by lightning. They were unable to speak for a long time. Their boss had actually lost, and he had lost to a freshman. Thinking of this, everyone's hearts trembled. They felt a great fear towards Lin Xian. Listen up, you are not allowed to provoke the people of Dragon Sword Pavilion in the future, Fierce Wolf said in a deep voice. The members of the Greedy Wolf gang were silent. Even without Fierce Wolf's words, they didn't dare. Even their boss had lost. They didn't want to die. On the other side, when the people of Dragon Sword Pavilion found out about this, they were all celebrating. Lin Xian had become the head of the mysterious sovereign leaderboard, raising the status of Dragon Sword Pavilion once again. I say, as the boss of the Greedy Wolf gang, why does Fierce Wolf act like a grandson when he sees Big Brother Xian? Those people are asking for a beating. They're just a bunch of trash. The people of Dragon Sword Pavilion were disdainful. When Lin Xian returned to Senmu College, the entire freshman area was in an uproar. The members of Dragon Sword Pavilion who had stayed behind were all excited. As if they had been injected with chicken blood, they quickly rushed into the sky. The other freshmen also looked at the sky with envy. Many people decided to join Dragon Sword Pavilion. Big Brother Xian is mighty. Everyone raised their arms and shouted excitedly. Lin Xian stared at the name inscribed on the 10,000-meter tall stone monument as his heart was filled with lofty sentiments. Finally, he had taken the most important step in the Immortal Martial Academy. Of course, in his heart, this was only the beginning. His goal was the name written in purple and gold at the top of the stone tablet. Duguoutian. He was also the first person on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard. The news of Lin Xian becoming a mysterious sovereign leaderboard expert spread, and Dragon Sword Pavilion welcomed a wave of applications. Many freshmen came to register, and even some older students came. There was no other way. Lin Xian was very strong and had a promising future. He had become a mysterious sovereign leaderboard expert as soon as he entered the college. What would happen in the future? They had to join now, or they would regret it in the future. Very quickly, Dragon Sword Pavilion became the largest society among the freshmen. Its number of members reached 500. Even among the older students, it was not a weak force. Of course, some people were happy, while others were unhappy. Yan Qingyang was one of those unhappy people. He was not only unhappy, he was furious. Let's go. Let's go meet that Lin Xian. He roared angrily and set off with the Tao Spirit Association's people, rushing angrily towards the freshman area. At this time, the freshman area was in jubilation. The people of Dragon Sword Pavilion had organized a huge banquet, and everyone was celebrating together. In addition to many people joining, some other societies came to congratulate them and try to build a relationship. After all, the waters of the Immortal Martial Academy were extremely deep. It would be good to have another powerful ally. Bam! Just as everyone was celebrating, a strong force suddenly came and kicked over some of the tables in the periphery. A strong wind swept, and a powerful aura spread throughout the freshman area. Who is it? Suddenly, the people of Dragon Sword Pavilion were all startled and looked in front of them in shock. There were dozens of figures standing there like gods and demons, especially the person in the middle. His vitality was like the sea, and he was extremely powerful. Tao Spirit Society. Everyone gasped, and their expressions were extremely serious. That was right. That group of people was from Tao Spirit Society. Yan Qingyang saw Murong Qingqing standing beside Lin Xian and felt a surge of anger. Lin Xian, get over here and die. His terrifying voice was like thunder, spreading in all directions. Chapter 7, 75. A terrifying voice rang out and spread in all directions. Everyone was shocked. To cause trouble at this time, they did not put Lin Xian in their eyes at all. Moreover, they chose the time when Lin Xian had just entered the mysterious sovereign leaderboard. They probably wanted to deal a heavy blow to Lin Xian. This voice caused quite a stir, and many people ran over to watch. It's actually people from Dao Ling Association. They're much stronger than Tan Lang. This Lin Xian is too unlucky. He just defeated Tan Lang, and the even more powerful Dao Ling Association came. What do you know? Yan Qingyang is pursuing Murong Qingqing. But look at where Murong Qingqing is now. She's beside Lin Xian. If Dao Ling Association doesn't beat him, who will they beat? Many people were discussing. Of course, there were also some who sneered and watched. After all, not everyone wanted Dragon Sword Pavilion to become stronger. Hearing Yan Qingyang's voice, the people from Dragon Sword Pavilion were furious. How dare he insult their brother Xian? No matter how strong the other party was, it was not allowed. However, Lin Xian waved his hand and stopped the people from Dragon Sword Pavilion. They did not want others to be at a disadvantage and get hurt. Everyone back off. I'm here, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Brother Xian. The disciples of Dragon Sword Pavilion clenched their fists. Murong Qingqing also reminded him softly, be careful. Those people are not simple, especially Yan Qingyang. He's very strong. I'm sorry to have implicated you this time. Murong Qingqing was not a fool. She naturally knew the reason why the other party was looking for trouble. What are you talking about? Lin Xian secretly pinched Murong Qingqing's lily-white hand and shook his head slightly. This action was seen by Yan Qingyang, and his lungs were about to explode. Jealousy, crazy jealousy. His eyes were red, as if they could spit fire. He decided that he must cripple the other party today. I seem to have warned you to stay away from her, Yan Qingyang said angrily. This voice contained a terrifying, murderous aura. It was unusually cold, and many warriors trembled slightly. On the other hand, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and slowly walked over. I seem to have warned you not to touch the people of Dragon Sword Pavilion. Are you deaf, or do you not have ears? Facing the powerful Yan Qingyang, Lin Xian did not have the slightest bit of fear. How dare you speak to young Master Yang like that? Are you tired of living? Hurry up and slap him. On the other side, a person from the Dao Spirit Association shouted coldly. F***CK, you must be tired of living. You guys are the ones who have the guts to talk to our family's brother Xian like that. Come over here, I'll chop you to death. The people of Dragon Sword Pavilion angrily shouted, their expressions agitated. At that moment, the gazes of over 500 people were like wolves. All of them were staring at that young man. Immediately, the young man was so scared that his face turned pale. His body trembled as he hid behind Yan Qingyang. Trash! Wang Li and the others sneered disdainfully. Lin Xian didn't pay any attention to the young man. He didn't need to take action against such a person. His gaze was fixed on Yan Qingyang. Very good, very arrogant. Yan Qingyang laughed. Don't think that you're powerful just because you defeated Fierce Wolf. In my eyes, Fierce Wolf is nothing. You are nothing too. Arrogant. Lin Xian sneered. Compared to you, what is my arrogance? You brought people to smash my place and now you're threatening me. I think you're the arrogant one. It's good that you know. Yan Qingyang said sternly, I'm arrogant because I have the right to be arrogant. I can crush you to death with one hand and destroy your Dragon Sword Pavilion. In front of me, you can only kneel. Hearing Yan Qingyang's words, the people of Dragon Sword Pavilion didn't look good. They were furious and couldn't wait to charge forward. However, Lin Xian laughed. So you're saying that you're revered for pursuing strength? Nonsense. This is a world where the strong are revered. Yan Qingyang sneered. The members of Dao Spirit Association behind him also had looks of disdain. Very good. In your eyes, as long as you have strength, right or wrong doesn't matter. If I'm strong, you can still kneel at my feet. Lin Xian's voice was cold as he looked forward. If that's the case, let's fight. I'll let you know who's the one kneeling in the end. Fight with me? You're courting death. Yan Qingyang sneered disdainfully. Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you're on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard. You're just a piece of trash, ranked 75th. And I'm ranked 64th. Let me remind you, on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard, every rise in rank means a huge difference in strength. I can kill Fierce Wolf in 3 moves. What do you have to fight with me? Hearing that, the people of Dao Spirit Association all laughed and looked at Lin Xian mockingly. In their opinion, Lin Xian dared to challenge Yan Qingyang. He was courting death. The people of Dragon's Sword Pavilion were also silent and looked unwilling. Although Lin Xian was strong, he didn't have much chance of winning against Yan Qingyang, who was ranked 64th. Ranked 64th? Is that strong? Lin Xian sneered. Look at you. Those who don't know better would think that you're ranked first. He had no fear in his heart. When he fought with Fierce Wolf, he had only used half of his strength. If he used his full strength, he could even fight with a 3rd heaven honorable. Moreover, when he wasn't an honorable, he dared to kill an honorable who was a higher realm than him. What more now that he was in a lower realm? In Lin Xian's eyes, Yan Qingyang was nothing. If he wanted to, he could replace Yan Qingyang's ranking any time. Originally, he didn't want to rush up so quickly. After all, he had some trump cards that he couldn't reveal. However, now that Yan Qingyang was rushing to his death, he could only fulfill his wish. Stubborn fellow! Yan Qingyang sneered. I don't know if I'm strong or not, but it's enough to kill you. After saying that, the aura on his body continued to rise and a powerful force spread out in all directions. Everyone was terrified and retreated one after another, creating a safe distance between them. I only need one hand to deal with you. Yan Qingyang was very confident and only extended one hand. Idiot! Lin Xian sneered in his heart. He focused his gaze and attacked with all his strength. He wanted to take advantage of Yan Qingyang's carelessness and disdain to attack and take him down with lightning speed. This was a great opportunity for him. I want your ranking. Lin Xian also exuded a fierce aura. Kneel down. Yan Qingyang looked down from above and slapped down with one hand. He looked like he was toying with him. The palm wind was fierce and a huge purple light palm condensed and pressed down on Lin Xian. Although it was a casual attack, the aura was very terrifying. It wasn't something that an ordinary 2nd heaven honorable could resist. Now, Lin Xian shouted and the great dragon sword soul in his body completely erupted. He clenched his fists and the Nirvana sword rain and Massacre sword rain merged to form a demonic sword. He quickly stabbed out. The great dragon sword soul was extremely powerful. At this moment, it completely erupted, causing Lin Xian's combat power to be extremely powerful. A shocking aura erupted, and it was so fierce that it made people feel despair. Countless people trembled and couldn't stand steadily. Those from Dao Ling Association were even more terrified and couldn't believe it. This power was too strong and made people feel despair. What? Impossible! Yan Qingyang's pupils shrank, and he was equally shocked. He didn't expect Lin Xian to have such strength. Chapter 776. Get lost! Yan Qingyang shouted. He wanted to mobilize his strength, but he was too late. The demonic sword pierced through his defensive inner armor and pierced through his body. Poof! Blood splattered and drifted into the sky. Yan Qingyang's body trembled as he was nailed in midair. I want you dead! Yan Qingyang was enraged. The person whom he had regarded as an ant had injured him. This was unforgivable. The aura in his body exploded as he wanted to attack with all his might. However, he was stunned in the next moment. His body trembled uneasily. In his body, the red and black aura kept flowing and destroying his body. The black sword aura was strange as it absorbed his spiritual energy like a bottomless pit. The red sword aura was extremely violent as it destroyed the meridians in his body. In an instant, Yan Qingyang suffered an unimaginable injury. Ah! He screamed miserably and was terrified. Kid, you're despicable. How dare you sneak attack me? Yan Qingyang roared. Let me go and we'll fight fair and square. Is there something wrong with your head? Lin Xian sneered. Sneak attack you? Everyone saw it. You attacked me first. I was just defending myself. How can you say that I sneak attack you? As for being injured, it only shows that you're not capable. Then he shook his hand and the demonic sword shone brightly, releasing an even more terrifying aura. Yan Qingyang's expression changed again as he screamed in pain. The people from Dao Ling Association were stunned. When they came back to their senses, they shouted, Let go of young Master Yang! Kid, how dare you touch young Master Yang? You're dead meat. The group of people was furious and rushed forward. Humph! Dongfang Xiong snorted and rushed out with the people from Dragon's Sword Pavilion. The two sides faced each other and the atmosphere was tense. You want to fight, unless you don't want his life anymore. Lin Xian sneered. He waved his arm and nailed Yan Qingyang to the ground with the demonic sword. Ah, I'm going to kill you. Yan Qingyang was in a frenzy. He had the strength, but he could not use it at all. The deathly silence sword aura and massacre sword aura in his body had driven him into a frenzy. Moreover, he could not get rid of the terrifying attack power of the great dragon sword soul in a short period of time. Brat, I won't forgive you. Even now, you're still so arrogant. Lin Xian laughed. You really don't know how to repent. He sneered and stepped on Yan Qingyang's body. Ah, Lin Xian, I'm going to kill you. Yan Qingyang went crazy. He had never been humiliated like this before. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly as he activated the deathly silent sword. A terrifying force of death spread out and quickly took away the spiritual energy in Yan Qingyang's body. In the end, Yan Qingyang felt that his blood and vitality were about to be drained away. He was finally afraid. Stop! I admit defeat. Let me go. Yan Qingyang roared. Admit defeat? Let you go? Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. You're really a young master. Do you think we're playing a game? Is this something that can be solved just by admitting defeat? You, what do you want? Yan Qingyang gritted his teeth and said, What do I want? Lin Xian said in a deep voice, You brought people to kill me. Now that you can't defeat me, you want to beg for mercy and live peacefully? How can there be such a good thing in this world? If I'm the one being stepped on by you today, will you let me go? Lin Xian's words were like pearls that pierced into everyone's hearts like a sharp sword. Indeed, based on Yan Qingyang's arrogant attitude, if the one who was defeated was Lin Xian, he would probably end up in a worse state. Feeling the vitality in his body being drained away, Yan Qingyang was terrified. This was his source of vitality. He said in a deep voice, Lin Xian, I think there's some misunderstanding between us. There's no conflict between us. I don't like you because of a woman. Now I don't want it anymore. I'll give it to you. That should be enough. Upon hearing that, the smile in Lin Xian's eyes deepened. Firstly, regarding Qingqing, you don't have the right to give it to me. Secondly, you don't have the right to say that in front of me. Murong Qingqing walked over with a cold expression. If we're not in the academy, I'll kill you 1,000 times over for what you said. The goddess was furious. Her voice was not loud, but it carried a chill that made the hearts of the people around her tremble. Indeed, disregarding everything else, Yan Qingyang could never catch up to the other party in terms of status. Who was Murong Qingqing? She was the little princess of the House of Kings. Her status was revered, and there were not many who could compete with her in the entire mainland. As for Yan Qingyang, he was just an ordinary genius. Although his family had some influence, it was nothing in front of the Murong family. Yan Qingyang knew that he had said the wrong thing. He regretted it and his hatred for Lin Xian intensified. In his opinion, he could not get Morong Qingqing's favor because of Lin Xian. The funny thing was, he never thought that with his status and strength, he was worthy of Morong Qingqing. Forget it. There's no need to talk nonsense with this kind of trash. Lin Xian shook his head and did not plan to waste any more time. Hand over your mystic supreme mirror and get lost with your people. Upon hearing that, the people from Dao Ling Association were shocked. Yan Qingyang roared madly. What mystic supreme mirror? Impossible. He was mad. He would never hand over the mystic supreme mirror, even if he died. If he lost other things, he could still get them back. However, once he lost the mystic supreme mirror, it would be very difficult to get it back. One should know that the mystic supreme mirror not only represented one's status, but also had other magical uses. Carrying the mystic supreme mirror was equivalent to carrying a small spirit gathering formation. The effect of the spirit gathering formation was closely related to the ranking. For example, the one in Lin Xian's hand was ranked 75th and had the effect of the third level of a middle grade spirit gathering formation. As for Yan Qingyang's, it had the effect of the 5th level of a spirit gathering tower. Although it was only a difference of 2 levels, the gap between them was very big. To be honest, Yan Qingyang's spirit gathering formation was more than twice as effective as Lin Xian's spirit gathering formation. That was also the reason why the people on the Mystic Supreme leaderboard cultivated so quickly and were so difficult to defeat. Those people were originally geniuses and geniuses. In addition to the powerful cultivation effect of the Mystic Supreme Mirror, it was impossible for them to become weaker. Therefore, the Mystic Supreme Mirror was the reason why Yan Qingyang was powerful and stood above everyone else. How could he hand over such an item? You're not handing it over? Looks like I haven't taught you enough of a lesson. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Then, the sword qi on his body became sharp again. A blood-red, murderous aura filled the air as if the god of death had descended from hell. It was extremely terrifying. Yan Qingyang's life was threatened, and the Mystic Supreme Mirror automatically appeared. Found it. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and smiled. If you dare take it, my big brother won't let you off. Yan Qingyang went crazy and threatened sternly. Your big brother? Even if your grandfather is here, it won't work. Lin Xian sneered and remained unmoved. He reached out his hand and grabbed the Mystic Supreme Mirror. He's right. You'd better not touch his Mystic Supreme Mirror. Otherwise, no one in Senmu College will be able to stop you. Suddenly, a cold voice was heard. Chapter 777. He's right. You'd better not touch his mystical fire mirror. Otherwise, no one in Senmu College will be able to stop you. Just as Lin Xian was about to grab Yan Qingyang's mystical fire mirror, a cold voice was heard. Everyone was shocked and turned their heads to look. The people from Dragon's Sword Pavilion were shocked. They did not know when a figure had appeared in front of them. On the other hand, the people from Dao Ling Association were overjoyed. It was obvious that the person who had come was related to them. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and looked forward. When the figure appeared, he naturally felt it. Based on speed alone, he was an expert. You're his elder brother? Lin Xian asked. No. The person shook his head and walked over slowly. Qingyang's elder brother is the president of Dao Ling Association. You'll know if you ask around. I'm here today to pass a message to the president. Let him go, and everything can be discussed. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state. Ha ha ha, did you hear that? My elder brother has spoken. Yan Qingyang laughed wildly. Kid, let me go quickly. Kowtow and cripple your own arms. Otherwise, you're dead meat. Don't you think you're too naive if you want me to let him go with just one sentence? Lin Xian said coldly. The person who had come was a young man in a dark green robe. He held a folding fan in his hand and said confidently, Let me give you a piece of advice. Our president is an expert ranked 30th on the mystical, venerable leaderboard. You're not someone we can afford to offend. What? Ranked 30th? The people from Dragon's Sword Pavilion were shocked. The mystical, venerable leaderboard included the top 100 young experts in the college. Even if they were on the leaderboard, the gap between them was huge. There was a huge gap between each rank, especially the top 30 warriors. There was a world of difference between them and the people behind them. Although Daoling Association's president, Yan Qingshan, was only ranked 30th, he was probably stronger than all the martial artists behind him. Such a person was almost invincible. That was why Yan Qingyang was so arrogant. That was why the young man in a dark robe was so calm. The dark-skinned youth fanned himself with a calm expression. In his opinion, as long as he mentioned the president's name, the other party would definitely back off. If it were anyone else, they might really be afraid. Unfortunately, he met Lin Xian. After Lin Xian heard this, he did not show any expression. Instead, he lowered his head and looked at Yan Qingyang, who was on the ground, and said coldly, "Hand over the mystic supreme mirror." What? The surrounding martial artists were shocked, their faces full of astonishment. This Lin Xian was too bold. Even the black-clothed young man's face was gloomy. He thought that Lin Xian would be afraid, but who would have thought that Lin Xian did not react at all, and even ignored him directly? "You want the mystic supreme mirror? Impossible, unless you kill me." Yan Qingyang bellowed furiously, his eyes filled with killing intent. "You think I don't dare?" Lin Xian was also angry. How could he be soft-hearted when someone bullied his family? Clenching his fist, a dazzling sword chi was condensed. It carried the power of the great dragon sword soul and was exceptionally sharp. Then, he thrust his sword toward Yan Qingyang's body. Uft! The sword tip entered Yan Qingyang's body without any hesitation, as though it was cutting tofu. Ah! Yan Qingyang screamed again. The hatred in his eyes disappeared and was replaced by fear. He did not expect that Lin Xian would still dare to do such a thing after knowing his brother's name. Beside him, the black-clothed young man's face was also gloomy. He stared coldly at Lin Xian. "Kid, what you are doing now is very satisfying and satisfying. However, have you thought about the consequences of doing such a thing? Aren't you afraid of the president's revenge? You should know that with the president's strength, it would be easy for him to kill you and destroy the Dragon's Sword Pavilion. It's not too late to admit your mistake," the black-clothed young man said coldly. "Otherwise, disaster will befall you soon. You should know that experts have dignity. The president's temper is not good." The voice was calm, but the warning in it was very obvious. No matter what, Lin Xian had offended an unimaginable expert. "Dignity? Face?" Lin Xian sneered. "Your president's face is your face and dignity. Is my face not also my face? This guy brought a group of people to my territory to cause trouble. Is he giving me face? You are now openly threatening me. Are you giving me face?" Lin Xian's voice was cold. It was like a sharp sword radiance surging in the air. "Since you don't give me face, why should I give you face? Are you really so naive to think that whoever you want to slap in the face will have to obediently stretch their face out?" When they heard Lin Xian's words, the people of the Dragon's Sword Pavilion clenched their fists. Yes, they were afraid of the experts on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard. However, this did not mean that they did not care about their dignity. Lin Xian had already arrived at their doorstep. What were they afraid of? Even after he had failed, he still had to threaten them. What did he take them for? Lin Xian's face was important, but theirs was not. They were all humans. Who did not want to be respected? Furthermore, what made them even more excited was that in the face of such a huge threat, Lin Xian had not given up on them. He had not revived them and had preserved the dignity of the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Although they were weak now, they still had dignity. The people around them were also shocked. Although Lin Xian was not wrong, he was probably the first person who had dared to say such a thing. Humph, you are really sharp-tongued. Even if you are right, so what? The dark-skinned youth sneered. In the face of absolute power, it is futile no matter what you say. Futile? You are wrong. Lin Xian sneered. I am now doing as you say, because I am powerful. I am stepping on your young master. Because I am powerful. These members do not dare to come up to save him. Because I am powerful, you only dare to talk big and not really do anything. Otherwise, if I had defeated the president's younger brother, would you have been able to remain indifferent? Also, because I am powerful, the mystic supreme mirror is mine. After saying that, Lin Xian stretched out his palm and gathered spiritual energy to form a golden dragon claw. He then snatched the mystic supreme mirror from Yan Qingyang. Then Lin Xian was stunned. Soon his ranking rose again, and he was now at the 64th place. Yan Qingyang was so angry that he was trembling and almost fainted. The dark-skinned youth's face was also gloomy, as if he had been slapped hard in the face. Just wait for the president's anger. Don't be so agitated. I am just doing things according to your worldview. However, you have become the weak ones. Lin Xian's expression did not change. I don't know why your president is not here. Regardless of whether he is pretending to be strong or has something to do, I will personally visit him in 3 months and fight him. By then, you will know who is the real strong one. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous and powerful, spreading in all directions. Humph, if the president had not gone out for a mission, you would be dead today. The dark-skinned youth snorted. All right, I will let you live for another 3 months. 3 months later, it will be your death date. Chapter 778. The news of Lin Xian injuring Yan Qingyang and obtaining the Mystic Supreme mirror quickly spread throughout Senma College. Countless people were shocked and stirred up. Yan Qingyang was an expert ranked 64th on the Mystic Supreme ranking list. He also had an extremely powerful brother and had a powerful background. Even those experts were not willing to provoke him. However, a new student had accomplished such a feat. Not only did he injure Yan Qingyang, but he also challenged Yan Qingchen in 3 months. How audacious! This Lin Xian is really arrogant and unscrupulous. Humph, he's too arrogant. It's impossible for him to challenge Yan Qingchen in 3 months. The entire college was discussing Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian did not pay attention to this. He was preparing for the auction in Windy City a month later. He had already sent a message to Yu Fei to collect information about the auction so that he could prepare in advance. The auction would be very grand, and many people had already set off for Windy City before it even started. All kinds of news were flying around. Some people said that there would be an Earth rank martial technique, while others said that there would be an 8th rank elixir pill. In short, all kinds of fantastic news made people excited. A few days later, Yu Fei sent a message. In order to attract more people, the Vientiane auction had released some of the auction items. Among them were the items that Lin Xian needed to make the Red Lotus armor. Other than that, there was also a half-earth rank treasure sword. Lin Xian was determined to get the Phoenix Blood Gold used to make the Red Lotus armor. This item was very important to him as it was the foundation of the Red Lotus armor. Other than that, the half-earth rank treasure sword also tempted him. The best weapon he had was the Wind Shadow Sword, an upper spiritual rank treasure weapon. However, it seemed that it was not enough. If he could get his hands on a half-earth rank treasure weapon, his attack power would increase by several times. It would be a great help. Of course, he also knew that a half-earth rank treasure weapon was very rare and there would be many martial artists fighting for it. What he needed to do now was to gather enough spiritual stones. Taking a look at the spirit stones in his storage ring, Zhang Xian estimated that there were around 70 million spirit stones in his storage ring. But now, in front of the phoenix blood, gilt gold, and a half-earth step treasure, it was simply not enough. There was still a month left. It would not be easy to get a large amount of spirit stones. He still had some treasures in his possession, such as 1,000-year-old spirit herbs and a few half-earth rank martial arts. If he were to sell these, he should be able to exchange them for a large amount of spirit stones. However, he estimated that it was still not enough. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and tapped his fingers on the table, trying to think of a solution. Suddenly, he raised his eyebrows as he thought of something. Qinghong Society. When he first came to the Blood Realm, he went to 2 cities, Azure Mountain City and Flying Tiger City. As a result, he had clashed with the forces in those cities. After he had killed the Flying Tiger City Lord, there had been experts from the Azure Red Society who had come to kill him. Fortunately, he relied on his speed to escape safely. However, this matter would not be settled so easily. Now was the perfect time to start with them. Thinking about it, they had a large amount of wealth in their hands. Coupled with the Wang family of Lion Moon City, it should be enough. The leader of the Azure Red Society should be a Stage 3 supremacy. He should also have a large number of experts under him. Lin Xian thought in his heart and deduced the possibility of killing the other party. He realized that it was very difficult. Other than the headquarters of the Azure Red Society, there were 6 cities under it, which were the 6 major branches. Lin Xian felt that it would be better to start with these branch cities first. Azure Mountain City, Flying Tiger City. Lin Xian confirmed 2 targets. Not only that, he also planned to bring Nangongseng and Ma Rulong over from the Sand region and let them build a battle arena here. On one hand, he sent a message to the Sand region. On the other hand, he gathered people and prepared to attack Azure Mountain City and Flying Tiger City. In fact, he did not need to do anything at all in these 2 cities. He only needed to keep an eye on the Azure Red Society. He had Wang Li and Dongfang Xiong lead 100 people to Azure Mountain City and Flying Tiger City, respectively. Lin Xian began to set up other measures. He summoned the Crimson Dragon and had him carve a few black jade platforms for life-saving situations. The black jade platforms were equivalent to small portable teleportation portals. It was very convenient, but it was very troublesome to create. This was because this kind of teleportation inscription was an ancient method. Ordinary people could not master it at all. Only an old monster, like the Crimson Dragon, could master it. Moreover, the materials needed to carve a black jade platform were very expensive. Ordinary people could not afford it. Kid, the materials you gave me are not good enough. I can only make you one that can teleport you 5 kilometers away, the Crimson Dragon said. Seeing Lin Xian's flickering eyes, he sighed. All right, Ben Huang has not recovered yet. I can only make one that can teleport you 500 kilometers away. 500 kilometers is enough. Lin Xian nodded. Then he went to the True Spirit Hall to exchange for some materials and gave them all to the Crimson Dragon. 3 days later, the 6 black jade platforms were completed. It could teleport you 5 kilometers away in an instant. It was definitely a good life-saving method. After putting away the 6 black jade platforms, Lin Xian also received news from Wang Li and Dongfang Xiong that the 2 cities had been taken. Let's go. It's time for us to leave. Lin Xian did not bring anyone with him. He only brought the Crimson Dragon and the Snow White Monkey. He set off alone. His speed was very fast, and he arrived at Qingshan City a day later. Qingshan City. Since the death of the Blood Wolf Gang's leader, the Azure Red Society had sent new experts to take charge. But how could they defeat the students of Senmu College? Wang Li and his men didn't have to expend much effort to kill them. The rest of the gang members also surrendered. Brother Xian, this is that guy's storage ring. This is the basement of the Blood Wolf Gang, Wang Li said. Lin Xian nodded. He scanned the storage ring with his soul power and put it away. Then he walked to the basement of the Blood Wolf gang and narrowed his eyes. The wealth of the Blood Wolf gang was richer than he had imagined. Just the storage ring alone had 50 million spiritual stones, and that was not counting the other things. The treasures in the vault were even more plentiful. There were 90 million middle-rank spiritual stones and some weapons, inner armor, cultivation methods, pills, and the like. Lin Xian waved his sleeve and put the 90 million spiritual stones into the storage ring. Then he said to everyone, "I have use for the spiritual stones, so I'll take them. As for the other things, you guys can divide them." "Thank you, Brother Xian." The members of the Dragon's Sword Pavilion were happy. Although the Blood Wolf gang was weak, they were rich. It seemed that they had done a lot of bad things in Qingshan City. Until now, Lin Xian had more than 200 million middle-rank spiritual stones. He smiled and began to set up Qingshan City. Since the city had already been conquered, Lin Xian had no intention of letting go. He set up some defensive arrays and arranged for some people to stay. Then he left. Senmu College's disciples could not stay here for long, so he called Nan Gongseng and Ma Rulong to take charge of the two cities. Chapter 779. Lin Xian chose the right time and city. Firstly, the Wanxiang auction was just around the corner, and the Azure Red Society would definitely participate. They wouldn't have much time to deal with this matter. Furthermore, the Green Mountain City and the Flying Tiger City were located in remote areas. Wang Li and Dongfang Xiong had quickly defeated their enemies, so the news wouldn't spread out so quickly. Lin Xian arrived at the Flying Tiger City and obtained another 150 million spiritual stones. He now had 370 million spiritual stones, which was an astronomical number. After making some arrangements, Lin Xian prepared to bring Yu Fei to the Windy City. As for the others, he planned to transfer them over when the auction started. He rushed all the way and arrived at the Windy City a few days later. Lin Xian was no stranger to this ancient city. He had been here once before. He sighed in his heart. When he first came here, he was only a harmonious spirit realm warrior. 2 months later, he was already a venerable realm warrior. His combat strength was heaven-defying, and he could even fight against a third-layer venerable. The Windy City was much more lively than before. Warriors from all over the Blood Realm had arrived to participate in the Wanxiang auction. As expected of the Wanxiang auction, it's so grand. Yu Fei exclaimed, "This is only a small part of the news, and it has already attracted so many people. If all the items are listed, the entire Blood Realm will be shocked." Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, although the half-earth rank treasure sword was good, it shouldn't be the most valuable item. The two chatted as they walked, and suddenly a few figures blocked their path. Lin Xian frowned and looked forward. 3 middle-aged men in black leather armor and bamboo hats said coldly, "If the two of you want to enter the city, pay the entrance fee first. 30,000 spiritual stones per person. Entrance fee, 30,000 spiritual stones." Yu Fei sneered. "Do you think we're newbies? There wasn't any entrance fee when we came here a few days ago. That was before. Now that the Wanxiang auction is around the corner, of course there will be an entrance fee." "That's right," another person said. 30,000 spirit stones per person. If you pay, you can enter the city. Otherwise, you won't be able to participate in the auction. The 3 of them had cold expressions as they stared at Lin Xian and Lin Xian, as if they were certain they would win. Wenfeng City is an ancient city. A long time ago, the rule was set that there is no entrance fee. This is also the reason why Wenfeng City is so prosperous. Moreover, even if there is an entrance fee, it should be collected by the city guards. Lin Xian said indifferently, "This kind of important matter shouldn't be handled by a nobody." "What did you say?" "Brat, you're courting death." That martial artist was immediately enraged. This brat in front of him actually dared to scold them. He was really reckless. "Brat, to tell you the truth, we are not guards and we don't need to pay the entrance fee to enter the city. However, we want to rob the two of you. What can you do?" The leading martial artist sneered. "Two little dolls. It seems like you still don't know the name of us three brothers. No one can escape from us, the bald eagle trio. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and hand over all your spirit stones and treasures. Otherwise, we'll throw you two into the forest to feed the wolves." The three of them sneered. In the blood realm, killing and robbing was a very common thing. "I'll give you a chance to live. Scram!" Lin Xian said coldly. "Did you hear that? My boss asked you to scram. Hurry up and scram." Yu Fei clenched his fists and said, "Scram, boss?" The three of them looked at each other and then laughed. "Ha ha ha ha, this is too funny. Boss? Brat, you can learn anything, but you still want to pretend to be a boss. Do you look like one?" Then their expressions changed. Their bodies emitted a powerful and cold aura, as if they were ferocious beasts that had awakened. "Brat, no one can scold us. Anyone who has scolded us is already dead. Hee hee, I'm going to cut off your tongues first, then dig out your eyeballs. I'm going to torture you to death. Brat, if you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not showing mercy. Die." One of the martial artists stretched out his hand and grabbed at Lin Xian. Wisps of black gas appeared on his palm as if they were going to devour him. The other passers-by saw this scene and shook their heads. They knew the name of the bald eagle trio. They were incomparably cruel. The two young men were surrounded by them, so they were definitely in trouble. These people only glanced at them and did not go forward to help. After all, this kind of thing was common in the blood realm. Bang! However, when the palm was 3 feet away from Lin Xian, it could not move. It was as if a pair of invisible hands had imprisoned it. What? The big man was stunned. Then his expression became very ugly. He used all his strength, but still could not move his fist. His face was flushed red, and his veins were popping out. "Brat, I'm going to kill you." The big man shouted angrily and kicked out. This kick was as fast as lightning. It swept towards Lin Xian's waist, bringing with it an endless gust of wind. If the kick hit, it would probably shatter a mountain. However, in the face of such a dangerous attack, Lin Xian only sneered. He flicked his finger, and a sword chi exploded on the big man's leg. Crack, crack, crack. Suddenly, the sound of bones cracking could be heard. The big man screamed and broke out in cold sweat. His legs fell powerlessly, and his bones turned into powder. Hiss! The other two gasped. Their eyes were full of horror. They knew that they had kicked an iron plate this time. Big brother, we were wrong." The big man said in a trembling voice. He was in so much pain that he was about to faint. "I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it." Lin Xian shook his head slightly. Then, with a wave of his sleeve, he sent the big man in front of him flying. He turned into a star and disappeared into the sky. The surrounding martial artists were shocked. They didn't expect the Condor trio to be defeated. Moreover, it was at the hands of a young man. "Hero, we were wrong. Please let us go. We'll get out of here." The remaining two were trembling in fear. The young man in front of them was too terrifying. They had never seen it before. The two of them knelt down and rolled on the ground like a ball. They maintained this posture until they disappeared. "Let's go." Lin Xian didn't make a move. Instead, he said lightly. Soon, the two of them entered the city, leaving behind a group of stunned martial artists. What a terrifying young man! Who is this person? He didn't even make a move and defeated the Condor trio? So strong, so domineering. I heard that the genius of the Red Leaf Valley, Hong Wuji, is also here. Could it be him? It doesn't look like it. The Red Leaf Valley's people are very ostentatious. It's impossible for them to only bring one person. Someone shook his head. They were all guessing, but there was no conclusion. There was a reason for their guesses. The people of the Red Leaf Valley were famous for being arrogant and domineering. Logically speaking, this kind of character couldn't survive. However, they were very strong, so they could continue to be arrogant and domineering. In Senmu College, there were many disciples of the Red Leaf Valley. Among them, the most powerful was the leader of the Red Maple Gang, Hongwuji. This person had once wanted to incorporate Lin Xian's dragon sword pavilion, but the two of them had never met. Chapter 780. Wenfeng City, Taihe Restaurant. It was a famous restaurant in the city. It was noon, and the restaurant was bustling with activity. Coupled with the fact that the Wanxiang auction was near, the business was booming. At this moment, a group of people dressed in red walked down the street. The arrival of this group of people caused the bustling street to become unusually quiet. No one dared to make a sound. 6 beautiful women appeared on the street. Each of them carried a sword in their arms. They walked with light steps and were extremely enchanting. In the middle of the 6 beautiful women was a young man in red robes. This young man was very handsome and should have been very attractive. However, the arrogance on his face and the arrogance in his eyes blocked everything outside. "Young master, this restaurant is not bad. It's suitable for resting," one of the beautiful women said. The arrogant young man casually glanced at her and then nodded. Next, 2 women dressed in red walked to the entrance of the restaurant and tied 2 red ropes. Then they said softly, "Red Leaves Valley has booked this place. Everyone else, disappear within 10 seconds. What Red Leaves Valley? When the people in the restaurant heard this, they were so scared that they scattered. No one dared to stay. Lin Xian heard the noise outside and frowned. He did not expect to meet Red Leaves Valley here. Moreover, the other party was as arrogant as ever. "Brother Xian, what should we do?" Yu Fei asked. "Don't worry about him," Lin Xian said coldly. Then he continued to eat. In an instant, the entire restaurant was empty. The arrogant young man snorted and walked inside. The surrounding people were terrified. Although the young man in red was arrogant, the aura on his body was extremely sharp. It was like a sharp sword that made people tremble. The young man in red slowly walked into the restaurant. However, he soon frowned because he realized that there were other people in the restaurant. Moreover, there were 2 of them. However, his eyes were only fixed on one person. It was a young man in a blue shirt. This was because he felt the same sharp aura from the other party. Although the other party did not release it, he could feel it because they were both swordsmen. However, when he sensed it carefully, there were some differences. His aura was sharp and domineering, while the other party had a terrifying killing intent. Behind the red-robed youth, the 6 beautiful girls were trembling at this moment. They hadn't chased everyone away. This must have caused the young master's dissatisfaction. Thinking of the red-robed youth's cruel and violent character, the 6 girls trembled slightly. "Young master, I'll go kill him," one of the girls with an oval face said. "No need." The red-robed young man shook his head. Then he stared at Lin Xian and whispered, "Interesting. Brat, you're very lucky to be able to sit with me." The corner of the red-robed young man's mouth curled up slightly. Then he found a seat in the middle and sat down. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He could also feel the strength of his opponent. However, if they were to fight, he was still very confident that he could win. However, the other party was too arrogant. With that condescending attitude, he was destined not to go far in his life. Shaking his head slightly, Lin Xian raised his wine glass. However, this action of his was met with a reprimand. "What do you mean by shaking your head?" One of the girls with an oval face snorted coldly. "Sitting in the same room with our young master is a blessing that you've accumulated over several lifetimes. Not only are you not grateful, you even dare to shake your head? You even care about this? You're such a busybody." Yu Fei sneered. The other party was too arrogant. His condescending attitude was infuriating. Whoosh! With a faint flash, the wine glass in Yu Fei's hand shattered and the wine spilled all over the floor. The wine glass was split in half. The cut was smooth as if it had been cut by a sharp weapon. Other than the wine glass, the table and the people were not harmed at all. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll spare your life. If there's a next time, it'll be your head that's split in half. The red-robed youth said coldly. He had been holding his wine glass all this time as if he had never attacked. So powerful. I didn't even see how he attacked. Yeah, so fast. Outside the restaurant, everyone was shocked. They didn't even see how the other party attacked. Yu Fei's face was also filled with shock. His hands were trembling, slightly. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The other party's swordsmanship was above his expectations. However, although he was surprised, he didn't take it to heart. That was because he had seen everything with his own eyes. Although others couldn't see the red-robed youth's attack, Lin Xian saw it clearly. He even thought of a few ways to counter it in an instant. He knew that the sword wouldn't hurt Yu Fei. Otherwise, he would have attacked long ago. Seeing that Lin Xian was silent, the girls thought that he was afraid and immediately sneered. Then they ignored Lin Xian and Lin Xian. Instead, they gathered at a nearby table and began to discuss. We'll get that sword in a month. Yeah, we'll be able to collect all 7 swords by then. No, that sword's value is higher than these 6 swords. The few of them discussed while the red-robed youth sat alone in the center, drinking wine. Hearing this, many people outside pricked up their ears. A weapon that could attract the red-robed youth's attention was definitely not ordinary. Of course, that Lone Star is a half-Earth rank artifact. It's a rare item in the world. The girls said proudly, as if the sword already belonged to them. As expected, the crowd exclaimed after hearing this. In order to attract people, the Wanxiang auction released information about some treasures in advance. Among them was a sword called Lone Star. It was the half-Earth rank artifact. A half-Earth rank artifact was rare in the world. It could be said to be a divine weapon. In the absence of an Earth rank artifact, it was the best weapon. Every time a weapon like this appeared, it would cause a storm of blood and countless people would lose their lives. Only a true powerhouse was worthy of it. As if she heard the crowd's discussion, the oval-faced girl said proudly, "Of course this sword belongs to our young master. Whoever dares to snatch it will be our young master's enemy, and the Red Leaf Valley's enemy. At that time, no one in the world will be able to save him." The girl's voice was very loud, as if she was warning everyone not to have any ideas about the half-Earth rank artifact. Yu Fei was also stunned. He did not expect that the other party was also here for the Lone Star sword. Then he looked at Lin Xian with a worried expression. However, what made him feel relieved was that Lin Xian did not have any expression. He was not angry, nor was he worried. Lin Xian was very calm. The girl's words did not stir up any emotions in him, nor did they scare him. Just as those people had said, this kind of treasure could only be obtained by those with strength, and strength was not something that could be shouted out. He believed that the 2 of them were not the only ones who came for the Lone Star sword. Perhaps the powerful swordsman would come as well. When that time came, the real fight would begin. Lone Star sword. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He was determined to get his hands on it. Chapter 781. Outside the restaurant, many martial artists sighed. Most of them were swordsmen who came because of the news of the Lone Star sword. But now the Red Leaf Valley was also competing for this artifact. It seemed that they had no chance. Hee, such big words. Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue? The Lone Star sword hasn't appeared yet, and you think it's yours? When the sword is taken away by someone else, wouldn't you be slapping your own face? A sneer was heard, erratic and erratic. Who is it? Come out. The 6 girls were shocked and angry. They stood up and looked around with cold eyes. The crowd outside was also shocked. Someone was looking for trouble with the Red Leaf Valley in public. How arrogant. Hee hee, you can't even find me there, and you still want to say that the Lone Star Sword is yours? The voice sounded again. I think you should go back to the Red Leaf Valley. You're courting death. The girl with the oval face was furious. She pulled out the sword in her arms and slashed forward. Boom! A jade green sword light flew out like a shocking rainbow, slashing forward. Whoosh! The crowd outside the restaurant immediately scattered, not daring to stay. The oval face girl was also an expert. Her attack was aggressive, but it didn't destroy the houses and streets. She just wanted to disperse the crowd. Not bad, not bad. Your control of strength is very precise. The voice laughed. But what's the use of hitting the air? Don't tell me you still haven't found where I am. Damn it, damn it. Hearing the provocative voice, the oval face girl was so angry that her face turned pale. The other 5 girls were also angry. Their eyes were like swords as they swept around. Yu Fei was also surprised, but he was very excited. He had long disliked these people. Now that someone was teaching them a lesson, he was naturally happy. Lin Xian squinted his eyes. He spread out his soul power and quickly checked. Then the corner of his mouth rose. At this moment, the mocking voice sounded again. What Red Leaf Valley? A bunch of trash who don't live up to their name. Buzz! Before he finished speaking, a ray of sword chi lit up. It was like a divine rainbow, and it slashed toward the void. Clang! Then there was the sound of metal colliding, and a gray figure appeared in the air. Lin Xian also raised his head, the corners of his mouth curling up slightly. This was more or less what he had expected. That silhouette flew through the air, his eyes filled with shock. He hadn't expected that the other party would actually be able to find him. You, how did you do it? The gray-robed man landed on the ground and asked in shock. Humph, your cultivation method is not bad, but your strength is not enough. With your little bit of cultivation, you still want to act mysterious in front of me? How laughable! The red-robed young man said disdainfully, You don't have the right to be presumptuous in front of me, Hong Wuji. This voice surged, turning into a sword wave, quickly thrusting out. Boom! The gray-robed man tried his best to dodge, but he was still hit by the sword wave and crashed into the wall. You! He gasped for breath, his eyes filled with panic. Then he gritted his teeth and glanced at the 6 girls in red. His eyes glowed. Chi! The gray-robed man's body flashed and melted into the air again, as if he had disappeared. In the next moment, he appeared beside a young girl. He stretched out his 5 fingers and grabbed the sword in her arms. The gray-robed man's target was not the red-robed young man, but the 6 swords. The young girl was caught off guard, and the sword in her arms was snatched away. Hee, I'll take the sword. When you get the Lone Star Sword, I'll come back for you. The gray-robed man laughed and then disappeared again. Humph, you're courting death. The 6 young girls were furious. They quickly formed a formation and enveloped the entire restaurant. However, the void rippled, and the gray-robed man appeared again. He was already a few hundred meters away from the restaurant. He laughed again and fled into the distance. At that moment, Hong Wuji moved. Like a bolt of red lightning, he instantly appeared in front of the gray-robed man. He waved his hand and snatched the sword. At the same time, he sent the gray-robed man flying. Barf! The gray-robed man spat out a mouthful of blood, but his body disappeared again. This time, even Hong Wuji couldn't find him. He frowned, snorted coldly, and instantly returned to the restaurant. Everyone was shocked. Hong Wuji was too terrifying. The mysterious gray-robed man couldn't even block one of his attacks. At that moment, other than Hong Wuji, only the 6 young girls were left in the restaurant. Lin Xian and Yu Fei's figures had also disappeared. No one noticed that In a remote street far away from the restaurant, a gray-robed man appeared, panting heavily. He was the gray-robed man from before. At that moment, his chest was hit by a palm, and he suffered serious internal injuries. Fortunately, he had a powerful concealment technique, which allowed him to escape from the red-robed young man. Damn it, I didn't expect that guy to be so strong. Looks like I'll have to find another chance. The gray-robed man's face was gloomy, and he was unwilling to give up. He believed that as long as he had enough patience, he would be able to succeed with the concealment technique in his hands. "Oh, looks like you haven't given up yet?" A faint voice was heard. "Who's there?" The gray-robed man was shocked. He didn't expect someone to be able to track him. Whoosh! With a flash of light, a figure rushed over from afar. The figure was very fast. At first, he was still far away, but in an instant he was in front of the gray-robed man. Seeing such speed, the gray-robed man was shocked. This speed was not any weaker than the red-robed young man's. In his shock, he thought that Hong Wuji had caught up with him. Without looking closely, the gray-robed man ran away. Buzz! 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 The void vibrated, and several sword chi appeared out of nowhere, forming a cage and trapping him. Although the terrifying aura did not touch him, it was enough to make his hair stand on end. "Who are you?" The gray-robed man screamed, his heart filled with fear. He realized that the person in front of him wasn't Hong Wuji, but his strength was definitely not weaker than Hong Wuji. "Let's talk. I'm interested in your concealment technique." Lin Xian said indifferently. The gray-robed man's escape technique surprised him, especially his concealment of aura. He didn't even notice it. If it wasn't for his strong soul power, he wouldn't have been able to find him at all. Lin Xian was tempted by such a mysterious technique. "It's you." The gray-robed man finally saw Lin Xian's face and exclaimed. He clearly remembered that in the restaurant, other than Hong Wuji and the Red Leaf Valley's people, there were two other people. Lin Xian was one of them. The Red Leaf Valley's arrogance was well known. To be able to stay in the same restaurant as the Red Leaf Valley's people was enough to show how powerful the other party was. However, the concealment technique was his lifeblood, and he couldn't bear to give it away. "You're not giving it away?" Lin Xian laughed. "I can immediately send you to the Red Leaf Valley, and then I'll give it to you." The gray-robed man's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and said, "If I give it to you, will you let me go?" "Of course, I can still guarantee that." Chapter 782. Soon, Lin Xian obtained a cultivation technique from the man in gray. Suddenly, he was surprised. Then he waved his hand and withdrew the sword chi, letting the man in gray go. Looking at the fleeing figure, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up into a joyful smile. "Kid, look at your smile. Did you get a great deal?" The Crimson Dragon asked. "It's really a great deal. This cultivation technique is amazing. It's just that guy doesn't know how to use it." Lin Xian smiled. It's a waste for such a good cultivation technique to be in his hands. If I'm not wrong, this should be an ancient concealment cultivation technique. That guy must have found it in a cave somewhere. With a flicker of his body, Lin Xian disappeared from the spot. He needed to find a place to cultivate this cultivation technique. According to his prediction, if he mastered it, he would be able to hide his aura, cultivation, and even soul fluctuations. He could even change his appearance and become someone else. This way, he would have one more trick up his sleeve. Within the wind-seeking city, the flow of people kept increasing. More and more people were entering the city, causing the guest rooms to gradually fill up. Lin Xian did not go to the inn. Instead, he followed Yu Fei to the cultivation pagoda in the city. Other than being an ancient city, the cultivation pagoda in Windy City was also famous. It was said that there was a spirit vein below. Coupled with the spirit gathering array, carved by a formation master. The spirit chi here was unusually dense. Thus, the cultivation pagoda became a building that was famous far and wide. Its effect was comparable to the intermediate spirit gathering array in the school. Lin Xian's arcane supreme mirror was only effective in and around Sema College because of its special nature. It must have something to do with the stone tablet. Lin Xian also wanted to find a place to rest, so he went to the cultivation pagoda. The black cultivation pagoda was 100 meters tall and had 10 floors. The higher the floor, the better the effect and the more expensive it was. Lin Xian and Yu Fei walked in and found that most of the cultivation rooms were full. However, there were also some empty cultivation rooms, but no one dared to go there. It seemed that everyone was afraid of those cultivation rooms. Lin Xian didn't think so. He urgently needed to find a place, and since it was an empty cultivation room, why couldn't he enter? Therefore, he led Yu Fei to a cultivation room on the 3rd floor. Brat, stop. That's not a place you can enter. Just as Lin Xian was approaching, a cold shout could be heard. Immediately, the other cultivators in the passageway looked over in surprise, looking at Lin Xian with a trace of confusion. Was this guy not afraid of death? Can't enter? Lin Xian frowned. This is an empty cultivation room. Why can't we enter? Brat, is this your first day here? A young man walked out with a cold smile on his face. Do you see the symbol on the door? This is the Chao family's emblem. This is young Master Chao's personal cultivation room. How can a lowly martial artist like you be worthy? If you delay young Master Chao's cultivation, even 10 of your lives won't be enough. Personal cultivation room? Lin Xian sneered. Before he came here, he had never heard of a personal cultivation room. He just knew that young Master Chao relied on his family to seize it by force and didn't allow others to use it. This kind of tyranny was comparable to the people from Red Leaf Valley. However, now that there was a shortage of cultivation rooms, how could Lin Xian back down? Besides, there was no one in this cultivation room. It would be a waste if he didn't use it. Then let me ask you, did your young Master Chao pay spirit stones for this cultivation room when he was free? Lin Xian asked indifferently. If the other party paid spirit stones, then he really couldn't fight for it. Unexpectedly, after the young man heard this, he laughed disdainfully. Pay spirit stones? What an idiot. Even if young Master Chao's cultivation room was empty, no one would dare to use it. Why pay spirit stones? Brat, I advise you to get out of here. Didn't pay? Then that's easy. Lin Xian smiled. If one paid spirit stones, no one else could enter, regardless of whether there was anyone in it or not. However, if one didn't pay spirit stones and still wanted to occupy it, that was unreasonable and bullying others. I don't know who young Master Chao is. I only saw that there was no one in the cultivation room and you didn't pay spirit stones. Since it's an ownerless cultivation room, why can't I enter? Lin Xian said in a low voice, then strode forward. Humph, you must be tired of living. The young man sneered. Today, I'll let you know the consequences of offending young Master Chao. He waved his hand, forming 2 pale white bone claws in the air. They were 10 feet long and grabbed at Lin Xian. You dare to attack me? Lin Xian sneered and punched out. His golden fist expanded like a golden mountain and blasted forward. Boom! The pale white bone claws shattered and turned into powder. Then, the young man's expression changed drastically. He clutched his chest and flew backward. Bang! He crashed heavily into the wall and was in a very sorry state. You dare to attack me? The young man didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful that he could destroy his attack with one punch. You're dead. The Chao family won't let you go. I don't know about the Chao family, but I know that if you don't get lost, you'll be the one to die. Lin Xian's voice was cold. You just wait. The young man's face was gloomy. He glared at Lin Xian fiercely, and then quickly left. You can use this room, Lin Xian said to Yu Fei. Brother Xian, what about you? I'll go upstairs and take a look, Lin Xian said, and then walked up the stairs. On the floor above, he also saw the empty cultivation room that the Chao family had occupied. He sneered and used a sword qi to erase the mark. Then he walked in. In the cultivation room, he waved his sleeve and set up a defensive array. Then he took out the concealment technique that he had obtained from the gray-clothed man. This technique was called the heaven-changing technique. It could change one's appearance, hide one's aura, and even change one's soul fluctuation to become another person. If one cultivated it to the large success stage, they could even change the world. However, the technique in Lin Xian's hand was an incomplete version. It only had the front part, but it was enough for him. Lin Xian's soul force was powerful, so he learned it very quickly. Not long after, his muscles and bones changed. Then his entire appearance and figure changed, turning him into a cold-looking man. He activated it again and turned into a middle-aged scholar again. His gaze focused. Lin Xian's aura suddenly disappeared. Although he was standing there, it was as if he didn't exist. Concealment and changing one's appearance were easy to master, but changing one's soul fluctuation was difficult. However, once he mastered it, it would be difficult for anyone below the king realm to discover his abnormality. After reaching the venerable realm, a martial artist's soul would be cultivated. Therefore, they would use their soul force when investigating. Moreover, a person's soul fluctuation was specific. No matter how much their appearance changed, their soul fluctuation wouldn't change. This was because, in the eyes of a powerhouse, they would be recognized at a glance. Now that he had the heaven-changing technique, Lin Xian could change his soul fluctuation as well. Chapter 783. On the second day, Lin Xian grasped the basics of changing soul fluctuations. No one below the 5th level of the martial honor realm could detect it. It would be more difficult to cultivate further down the path. It would require time to accumulate. Lin Xian was not in a hurry. This was enough for him. Therefore, he got up and left the cultivation room. When he came out, he immediately realized that the martial artists in the passageway were looking at him differently. Their expressions were filled with shock and astonishment. What happened? He found someone and asked, You offended the Chao family yesterday and are here for revenge today. They thought you were down there and surrounded the cultivation room that you stole. Chao family? Humph! Lin Xian snorted and quickly walked down. In the cultivation room on the 3rd floor, Yu Fei looked miserable. He could not cultivate at all and could only walk around in circles, anxiously. This was because the door of the cultivation room had been mercilessly bombarded. Every time it was hit, it would emit an earth-shattering sound. Under such circumstances, no cultivator could cultivate. Moreover, through the hole in the door, he saw that it was the young man who was beaten up yesterday. It was obvious that the Chao family was here. He could only wait for Lin Xian to come out first. Boom! However, in the next moment, the door of the cultivation room was blasted open. A few martial artists rushed in and surrounded Yu Fei. It's not that guy. Zhang Tao was stunned. Why, he's not the arrogant guy you were talking about. An arrogant young man asked coldly. He was wearing a chow-colored robe and was only 15 or 16 years old. He had an arrogant expression and looked down on everyone. It's not that guy, but he should be that guy's accomplice. Zhang Tao said, I saw them together yesterday. I think that guy went to another cultivation room. However, we can wait for him here. I'm sure he'll show up. Zhang Tao grinned hideously. Young Master Chao, why don't we teach this guy a lesson and let him know how powerful you are? First break his limbs, then peel off his flesh piece by piece. Chao Tong said indifferently. He looked very indifferent. It seemed that he had done this many times. A group of people had already gathered outside. When they heard this, they shook their heads and sighed. This guy is really unlucky. He dared to offend the Chao clan. That's right, the Chao clan is one of the most powerful clans in Wind-Seeking City. Didn't these people ask around before? This kid is just an accomplice. I don't know where the main culprit went. Maybe he ran away a long time ago. A group of people discussed in low voices. Inside the training room, two robust martial artists grinned as they walked forward. One of them held a long blue staff, while the other held a long saber. The two of them blocked off Yu Fei's path. "I'll kill you all." Yu Fei shouted angrily, wanting to break out of the encirclement. Boom! Spiritual energy exploded, filling the surroundings with a terrifying aura. He'd consumed a lot of spirit herbs in the Chao clan recently, so his cultivation had reached the half-step exalt realm. Thus, his attack was extremely imposing. However, the two martial artists on the other side were even stronger. The two of them attacked and interrupted Yu Fei's attack. At the same time, they sent him flying with a strike of their staff. Puff! Yu Fei vomited blood and was immediately seriously injured. His entire body swayed uncontrollably. "Kid, if you want to blame someone, blame your accomplice. How dare he offend young Master Chao?" Zhang Tao grinned. "It's a pity for you. Maybe that kid has already run away and left you as a scapegoat." Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Yu Fei's mouth was full of blood, but he laughed loudly. "Brother Xian will help me pay you back 10 times for the injuries you've inflicted on me. Even if you kill me, Brother Xian will help me take revenge." "Brother Xian, you're courting death. The two of you hurry up and attack. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death." Chao Tong shouted coldly. Whoosh! Buzz! Immediately, the two martial artists attacked, and a terrifying attack surged towards Yu Fei. "Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me." Yu Fei shouted angrily, wanting to fight with his life on the line. "Brother Xian, I'll follow you in the next life." Yu Fei's eyes were red and cracked. He wanted to self-destruct his spirit energy and create an explosion to kill everyone. However, in the next moment, a palm landed on his shoulder and immediately suppressed the rampaging spirit energy in his body. Not only that, the aura was extremely cool and quickly healed the injuries in his body. Boom! The energy exploded, terrifying, drowning the area in front of him. This is the result of provoking young Master Chao. Zhang Tao looked forward with a sneer. The martial artists outside were also silent. Suddenly, the void fluctuated and the violent energy ball seemed to have been split apart by something, instantly turning into countless fragments. Following that, a gust of wind blew over and blew everything away. Everyone was puzzled and looked over. Even Chao Tong frowned. He did not understand what was going on. He saw a young man in blue standing in front of Yu Fei. He had an extraordinary bearing, but his expression was abnormally cold. "It's you." Zhang Tao's expression changed, and then he laughed sinisterly. "Young Master Chao, he's the brat who stole the cultivation room." "It's him?" Chao Tong's face suddenly darkened, and a thick murderous intent appeared in his eyes. "Brat, you've got guts. You actually dared to steal my cultivation room. Now kneel down and cripple your arms. Crawl under my pants, and I might spare your life. Otherwise, both of you will experience what it means to live a life worse than death. Recuperate well. I'll avenge you." Lin Xian said to Yu Fei, and then took out a bottle of elixir. "Brother Xian." Yu Fei was excited. He nodded and stood to the side, pouring out the elixir and swallowing it. Lin Xian turned his head and looked at Chao Tong and the others in front of him. He said in a deep voice, "Now, cripple your arms and kneel down to my brother. I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, you'll know what it means to live a life worse than death." Lin Xian's voice was not loud, but it clearly spread in all directions. The murderous intent in his voice made many people's hearts tremble, especially the martial artists outside. Their faces were filled with astonishment. This brat is so arrogant. Chow Tong, Zhang Tao, and the others laughed as if they had heard the funniest joke. What did he say? He wants me to apologize? Chow Tong's face was full of disdain. Zhang Tao also sneered, his eyes full of sarcasm. Brat, you dare to threaten young Master Chow. No one in Wind-Seeking City can save you. Just wait for your death. The 6 martial artists that Chow Tong brought also sneered. Men, capture the 2 of them. I want to torture them to death bit by bit. Chow Tong was like a little devil. Although he was small, his heart was very vicious. Looks like you guys don't know how to repent. Lin Xian sighed. If that's the case, then die. You're courting death. In front, 2 martial artists sneered and quickly attacked. A big stick pressed down like a heavenly pillar. It was as heavy as 10,000 pounds, pressing down on Lin Xian. On the other hand, a saber light flashed like a purple lightning, quickly slashing towards Lin Xian. When the 2 of them joined forces, their power was comparable to a venerable. Faced with such a terrifying attack, the cultivators outside cried out in shock. However, Lin Xian did not dodge at all. Chapter 784. However, countless blood-colored auras gushed out from his surroundings like a sea of blood, surging in the air. Boom! Suddenly, 2 bloody hands reached out from the sea of blood. Like dragons, they instantly shattered the staff and saber radiance in the sky. Then, they quickly enveloped the 2 martial artists. Ah! Miserable cries rang out, causing one's hair to stand on end and their scalps to go numb. In the next moment, the 2 bloody hands let go and retreated into the sea of blood. And at the place where the 2 martial artists originally stood, 2 piles of white bones appeared. There was not a single human figure. Dead. Everyone was shocked and speechless. This method was too terrifying. Zhang Tao was also shocked. He knew that Lin Xian was powerful, so he asked Chow Tong to bring 6 martial artists. Among the 6 martial artists, 4 of them were half-step martial artists, and the other 2 were first-level honorable realm. With such a lineup, they would be safe in Wind-Seeking City. With the Chow family status, no one would dare to provoke them. However, they did not expect Lin Xian to kill the 2 of them in an instant. His method was decisive and ruthless. You dare to kill my men? Chow Tong was furious. As the young master of the Chow family, he had always been the one bullying others. No one dared to bully him, let alone kill his men. Therefore, Chow Tong was furious this time. Kill him for me! He shouted angrily. Only by killing the other party could he calm down. Young master, let me do it, said an old man beside him. He was in a red robe and had little hair. His face was skinny and he looked very old. However, his eyes were extremely bright, like the stars in the sky. Not only that, the old man had a terrifying aura. It was the aura of an honorable realm. The old man in the red robe was a first-level honorable realm and was Chow Tong's bodyguard. Yes, be ruthless and kill him. Chow Tong said, the death of the 2 half-step honorables meant that Lin Xian's strength was far above that of a half-step honorable realm. Therefore, they could only send a real honorable realm expert. They did not feel the aura of an honorable realm expert from Lin Xian, so they thought that Lin Xian was not honorable realm expert. After receiving the order, the red-robed elder stepped out and coldly said, Aunt, I'll make you kneel in front of the young master and die. He roared angrily and punched out. Boom! It was as if a great earthquake had occurred. The entire cultivation pagoda was shaking. That fist was like a ferocious tiger, firm and powerful. This punch had a tremendous momentum, directly making the weaker martial artists lie flat on the ground. Countless people were horrified, not daring to imagine the power of this fist. Chow Tong, Zhang Tao, and the others had cold smiles on their faces. It was as if they could already see the scene of the other party being beaten up. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. A first-level, venerable realm cultivator was even worse than an ant in front of him. He still didn't move. The sea of blood behind him churned and condensed into a blood-colored longsword. It was incomparably scarlet and emitted a demonic light. The sword light flashed like a blood-red lightning, instantly striking out. The air split apart as killing intent filled the air, causing everyone to tremble. Puff! The red-robed old man's arm was chopped off, turning into white bones in the air. Then the blood-red sword flashed again and cut off his legs. The red-robed elder's body fell to the ground as if he was kneeling. "You must die kneeling in front of my brother." Lin Xian's voice was cold and filled with killing intent. If he had come a step later, Yu Fei might have died by now. Since the other party was so arrogant and domineering and didn't care about any rules, there was nothing for him to worry about. The blood-red long sword pierced through the red-robed elder's body and pierced his heart, taking away all his vitality and blood. The red-robed elder's body trembled, and his face was filled with fear. He regretted it now. Why didn't he see the other party's strength clearly? Why did he force himself to stand up? However, he didn't have the chance to regret it. Under the effect of the blood-red longsword, he turned into a pool of blood. "What?" Zhang Tao screamed with a face full of fear. Chao Tong's expression also changed drastically, and he was stunned on the spot. His personal bodyguard, the red-robed elder, was a venerable, yet he was killed in one move. This was probably even more fantastical than a dream. They were not the only ones. Everyone was stunned as if they had seen a ghost. Impossible, this was absolutely impossible. Chao Tong screamed with a terrified expression. You dare to kill him! You're dead meat." Zhang Tao's face was also filled with fear, and his body kept trembling. Lin Xian's strength was beyond their expectations. They definitely couldn't let such an enemy live. However, the other elder didn't think so. He hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Young master, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We were wrong this time. I'll compensate you with 100,000 spirit stones and won't pursue the matter of you killing him. Let's just let this matter pass. How about that?" He naturally didn't say that to reconcile, but to leave this place as soon as possible. The other party was too terrifying. If they stayed here, they would be in great danger. His responsibility was to protect the young master, so he had to give in at this critical moment. Hearing that, Chao Tong's heart pounded wildly. He didn't want to stay here any longer. The purple-robed elder took a deep breath and threw out a storage ring. Ding-dang! Lin Xian didn't move at all. The storage ring fell to the ground. "You brought people to kill us, but now that you realize that you can't kill us, you want to leave. Let me ask you, is there such a simple thing in the world?" Lin Xian sneered. "I'll give you 1,000,000 spirit stones to kill you once. I'll stop regardless of whether I succeed or not. How about that?" Seeing the other party's expression, he sneered. "Since you know that it's impossible, you should know how I feel. Today, none of you will be able to leave. Those who bully my brother die." Hearing that, everyone's hearts pounded wildly. This young man was so domineering. Although his logic was right, he was the first person who dared to face the Chao family like that. Chao Tong and the others had ugly expressions and were trembling. Lin Xian had killed a first-rank honorable realm in one move, which meant that his strength was extremely terrifying. He definitely surpassed a first-rank honorable realm. The most powerful martial artist here was the purple-robed elder, who was much stronger than the red-robed elder. However, he had no confidence in defeating Lin Xian. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the purple-robed elder's face darkened. He snorted coldly, and his attitude became firm again. "This is Wind-Seeking City, and the Chao family is a powerful force in Wind-Seeking City. You better think about the consequences if you take action here. Although you feel good now, I'm afraid that there will be no place for you in the city. At that time, you will end up in a worse state. Young man, don't do anything wrong. Hearing that, Lin Xian smirked and said coldly, You still dare to threaten me? I've said that if you cripple your arms and kneel before my brother and apologize, I'll give you a quick death. Unfortunately, you have no choice. Don't blame me. Lin Xian said coldly, and the aura on his body became stronger. Boom! The elder opposite him suddenly exploded, and a goshawk appeared behind him. It emitted a purple light like a ferocious beast. It spread its wings and filled the entire space. A strong and violent force shrouded the area. Swoosh! Without saying a word, the goshawk quickly pounced on Lin Xian. Chapter 785. The purple goshawk was the purple-clothed old man's martial soul. It was powerful and sharp like an ancient ferocious beast as it pounced towards Lin Xian. He had used all his strength in this attack. His goal was to catch Lin Xian off guard and kill him quickly. A purple afterimage floated past and arrived before Lin Xian in an instant. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, and a wisp of disdain appeared on his lips. Martial soul? The sea of blood behind him floated and formed a blood-colored giant that stood tall and roared furiously at the sky. His body was like a mountain, and his muscles were like dragons. A pair of huge hands reached out and instantly grabbed the purple goshawk. Swoosh! The purple goshawk screeched, and purple chi surged on its body like demonic clouds. It emitted a terrifying force, but it couldn't escape at all. Spurt! The blood-colored giant tore the purple goshawk into two. Behind him, the purple-clothed old man trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with shock. He hadn't expected the young man before him to be so terrifying. His full-strength attack was actually useless. It seemed like the Chao clan had caused a huge problem this time. If they couldn't deal with it properly, they would probably be in great danger. He was filled with regret when he thought of this. Chao Tong's face was filled with terror when he saw the purple-clothed old man fail. He said hatefully, You're finished. How dare you hurt my guard? When I return home, I'll personally lead experts to kill you. Do you think I'll let you go? Lin Xian sneered. What, you dare to touch me? Chao Tong screamed. The Chao clan will tear you into pieces if you dare to touch me. The purple-clothed old man stood up with difficulty and stood in front of Chao Tong with a vigilant expression. You'll have to go through me if you want to touch the young master. Spurt! Before he could finish speaking, a blood-colored sword chi shot out and pierced a hole in him. In an instant, the purple-clothed old man turned into a dried corpse and fell to the ground. Ah! The remaining cultivators cried out in terror and ran in all directions. Spurt! Spurt! The sea of blood surged and transformed into countless blood-colored pythons that killed the remaining 2 half-step Exalt Realm cultivators. Then, Lin Xian's gaze turned and stared at Zhang Tao. You were the one who found these people, weren't you? Lin Xian said in a deep voice. If it weren't for you, these people wouldn't have died so quickly. No, don't kill me. Zhang Tao was so scared that he peed his pants. He knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing. I beg you, please let me go. I'll do anything you want. Anything. Lin Xian smiled. Hearing this, Zhang Tao became spirited. He hurriedly raised his head and said quickly, Yes, I'll do anything as long as you let me go. This was his only chance to survive, and he didn't want to let it go. Even if he had to cripple his own arms, he would accept it. All right then, kill him, and I'll let you go. Lin Xian pointed at Chao Tong and said indifferently, What? Zhang Tao was stunned. He didn't expect Lin Xian to make such a request. The martial artists outside were even more shocked. They had never imagined that this youth in front of them would actually want to kill a Chao family disciple. Was he not afraid of the Chao family's revenge? Chao Tong's expression became very ugly. He quickly retreated and stared at Lin Xian, his eyes full of viciousness. "If you dare to kill me, you'll die a horrible death." Zhang Tao also had a look of hesitation, standing there in a daze. This problem was too difficult for him. If he didn't make a move, Lin Xian would probably kill him immediately. On this point he did not doubt at all, because the previous battle let him know that this youth in front of him was absolutely a decisive person. However, if he killed Chao Tong, then there would be no place for him in Wind-Seeking City. It might not even be long before he would be captured by the Chao family. At that time, his outcome would be even worse. Whether he made a move or not, he would die either way. Why? Don't dare? Lin Xian smiled coldly. "This is your last chance to live." Zhang Tao's expression flickered. He clenched his fists and finally raised his head abruptly. "Is what you said true? You'll really let me go?" "Of course, as long as you dare to make a move," Lin Xian said indifferently. "Okay." Zhang Tao stood up, pulled out a sharp dagger and looked at Chao Tong. If he didn't kill him, he would die immediately. If he killed him, he would still have a chance to escape. After weighing the two options, Zhang Tao decided to take a risk. He planned to kill Chao Tong and leave Wind-Seeking City immediately, never to return in this lifetime. Seeing Zhang Tao's decision, Chao Tong's expression turned ugly. He screamed, "Zhang Tao, if you dare to make a move on me, you're dead! You dog, the Chao family won't let you go. Kiki, I've long found you an eyesore. If you weren't the young master of the Chao family, I wouldn't have bothered with you. You're just a kid. How dare you order me around? Go to hell." Since he had decided to kill, Zhang Tao simply went crazy. He laughed sinisterly and pounced on Chao Tong. The dagger in his hand bloomed with a terrifying light. Chao Tong was so scared that his face turned pale. He was just a young man. His cultivation was not strong at all. Usually, he relied on his family's status to bully others. Now his bodyguard was dead. He had no way to resist at all. The crowd was also terrified. They did not expect things to develop to this stage. However, at this moment, a cold light flashed. It was like a blue ice thread, instantly piercing into the back of Zhang Tao's head. Buzz! Zhang Tao died in an instant. His body quickly froze and turned into an ice sculpture. At this moment, Zhang Tao was less than a foot away from Chao Tong. He would have succeeded if he was a step late. Seeing Zhang Tao dead, Chao Tong heaved a sigh of relief. His eyes were filled with hostility. He raised his hand and slammed it on the ice sculpture, shattering it. Ka ka ka! The human-shaped ice sculpture shattered into pieces. Zhang Tao's body also shattered into countless pieces. The crowd gasped and retreated, looking at the cultivation room in horror. At this moment, a figure appeared in the cultivation room and stood in the middle. It was a tall woman in a blue dress. She was extremely sexy. She was holding a frost flower in her hand and looked coldly at Lin Xian. "You can't touch the people of the Chao family." Her voice was cold, like an icy wind blowing, causing people to shiver. "You're from the Chao family?" Lin Xian looked at the figure in front of him and frowned. "Isn't it important? You've killed enough people. It's time to stop." The woman shook her head slightly. "Sister Lingsu, kill him. You must kill him." When Chao Tong saw the woman, he became excited again and became extremely arrogant. "He killed my servant and wants my life. I must kill him. Sister Lingsu, you crippled his martial arts. I want to treat him like a dog and keep him by my side. I want him to suffer inhumane torture every day." Chao Tong said viciously, gritting his teeth. "You heard it too. Do you think I'll let him go?" Lin Xian's face was cold and there was a strong murderous aura around him. "He's just a child who doesn't know any better. Why don't you stop now?" The woman in the blue dress said, "You can vent your anger and save your life. This is the wise choice." However, the ice-cold aura on her face became even more serious. It was as if she had turned into an iceberg that could freeze everything at any time. Chapter 786. Although she did not say it explicitly, the warning in her words was obvious. If it were anyone else, they would have stopped. After all, the woman in front of them was very powerful. Her aura was far stronger than the two old men from before. However, the person they offended this time was Lin Xian, so things would not end so easily. What if I say no? Lin Xian said indifferently. He was not afraid of the woman in blue. That's a good suggestion. Since you don't want to listen, don't blame me for making a move. The woman in blue's face darkened, and her aura overflowed. Suddenly, snowflakes floated in the air. The entire cultivation room seemed to have turned into a world of ice and snow, as expected of an expert from the Lung family. Her aura is indeed powerful. It seems that Qiao Tong's life is saved with Lung Su around. Outside, the crowd was discussing. I'll give you one more chance. Leave now, and you'll have a chance to live. Lung Su's voice was cold. You didn't make a move because you're not confident. You can't see my cultivation, and you don't know what realm I'm in. Am I right? Lin Xian sneered. Otherwise, with your domineering personality, you would have made a move long ago. Since you don't dare to make a move, why do you have to be so dignified? How pathetic! There's one more thing. If I want to kill someone, even the gods can't stop me. You're too arrogant. It's easy for me to kill you. Lung Su's face darkened, and she quickly made a move. With a wave of her palm, a terrifying cold aura surged, turning into endless ice and frost. Boom! The ice crystal palm was like an ice mountain, quickly grabbing forward and enveloping Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian snorted and took a step forward. Suddenly, his aura changed drastically. Endless blood-red sword chi surged, and a monstrous killing intent surged out, sweeping in all directions as if it was going to tear the sky apart. The killing intent was so dense that it formed into a killing sword that swept in all directions. Boom! 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 Countless sword chi slashed on the ice crystal palm, shattering it. Even more killing intent surged to the back and enveloped Qiao Tong. No, you dare to touch me? Sister Ling Su, save me! Qiao Tong roared with unwillingness and fear. In an instant, he was pierced by countless strands of killing intent. You're courting death. Lung Su's expression changed. She waved her jade-like hands, shooting out numerous ice crystals in an attempt to save Qiao Tong. However, he still underestimated Lin Xian's murderous aura. Originally, Lin Xian possessed the slaughter sword, and his killing intent was already very strong. Now that he had obtained Qiao's inheritance, the slaughter blood sword, even a second-rank honorable would not be able to withstand that terrifying killing intent, let alone Qiao Tong. In an instant, Qiao Tong's heart was pierced by 10,000 swords, nailing him to the wall. He was deader than dead. This vicious youth had finally paid the price for his arrogant and vicious actions. If you kill him, you'll die too. Lung Su's beautiful face turned incomparably cold. She didn't expect the other party to be so decisive and ruthless, directly ignoring her and the Qiao clan's threat. This kind of person could not be allowed to live. Scram, don't force me to make a move. Lin Xian snorted coldly, his eyes surging with killing intent. Humph! I'll kill you today and bring you back to the Qiao clan as a sacrifice to Qiao Tong. Lung Su had no intention of retreating. Looks like you're also a dog of the Qiao clan. Since that's the case, stay here. Lin Xian snorted coldly, his body surging with murderous aura. It was monstrous, like a sea of blood, directly shattering the void. Slash! A blood-red sword slashed down from the sky, sharp to the extreme. Even a second-rank honorable would die from this attack. Lung Su was not a second-rank honorable, so she couldn't withstand such a terrifying attack. Finally, a trace of fear appeared in her eyes. The youth in front of her was too strong, far from someone she could fight against. Go! Without hesitation, she turned into a cold ray of light and quickly rushed out. Don't you think it's too late to leave now? Lin Xian sneered and slashed down with the blood-red sword in his hand. Poof! Blood splattered, and Lung Su was cut in half. The crowd was stunned, dumbfounded as they looked at the corpse on the ground, trembling. This was too shocking, too terrifying. He killed without hesitation, not showing any mercy to such a beautiful woman. After today, the Chao clan and the Lung clan would be completely enraged. Since their disciples were killed here, the Chao clan and the Lung clan, as the major forces in the city, would definitely not let the matter rest. Since this youth was so strong, his identity must be extraordinary. If they didn't handle this well, there would be a huge battle. It seemed like the eve of the Wanxiang auction was full of troubles. After keeping the storage rings of these people, Lin Xian left with Yu Fei. Brother Xian, we've killed so many people. I'm afraid they won't let this go, right? Yu Fei said worriedly. After all, the other party was from a major clan, and they had great influence here. It's fine. Find a place to recuperate for the next few days. I'll go out and take a look. Lin Xian said, I've learned the heaven-changing technique. No one below the 5th rank honorable realm can see through my disguise. It was because of this magical technique that Lin Xian had nothing to worry about. After killing people, he could change his appearance and aura, and the other party wouldn't be able to find him. Lin Xian used the items in the storage rings of those people and paid a high price to find a safe place in the city. The two of them stayed there temporarily. However, the atmosphere on the other side was completely different. After the Chao clan learned that Chao Tong had been killed, they were in an uproar. They roared madly and searched everywhere for the culprit. Someone dared to kill people in the city, and a member of the Wang clan. This was a blatant provocation. Even the other major clans in the city didn't dare to do so, but a kid who came out of nowhere dared to challenge the Wang clan. He was courting death. Soon, the Wang clan gave the order to search the entire city. On the other side, the Lung clan also gave the order to capture the culprit. Immediately, the entire wind-seeking city was in a state of chaos, and everyone was in danger. Meanwhile, the person involved, Lin Xian, was resting in a quiet courtyard. After learning about the Wang clan and the Lung clan, he sneered and ignored them. No matter how strong they were, they couldn't find this place. Moreover, even if they found him, he was confident that he could leave. He still had many trump cards in his hand, so he wasn't afraid of the Wang clan. The Wang clan and the Lung clan searched for the culprit, but they couldn't find him. They were furious, but they didn't give up. Instead, they offered attractive conditions and put out wanted posters in the city. 10 million spiritual stones for the culprit. Immediately, many martial artists were tempted and started to take action. However, Lin Xian seemed to have disappeared, and no one could find him. After 3 days, Lin Xian would definitely go out and take a look. He let Yu Fei stay here to recuperate and set up a defensive array. Then he used the heaven-changing technique and turned into a young scholar. With a smile, Lin Xian appeared in the wind-seeking city again. The wind-seeking city was even more lively now, and more martial artists were gathering here. Some experts and geniuses also appeared frequently, all for the Wanxiang auction. Lin Xian was wearing a white robe. His face was handsome, and he held a folding fan in his hand. He looked like a handsome scholar as he walked toward the bustling city. Chapter 787. Wind-seeking city was bustling with activity. It was different from the sand region. There was no arena, but there was a coliseum. It was a more exciting and bloody battle. Beasts fought against beasts. That battle was more tragic than a martial arts battle. Death was common. Perhaps only in the blood region would there be such exciting things. In the south of the city, there was a majestic building complex. That was the Colosseum. There were many cages on both sides of the wide street. There were all kinds of beasts in the cages. The cages were made of star-patterned steel. The beasts couldn't break through them at all. Moreover, these Colosseum were backed by powerful experts and mysterious beast tamers. They could control any situation. The huge cage was 10 meters tall. There was a divine wolf in it. It was snow-white and had a pair of wings on its back. It stared at the passers-by with ferocious eyes. Beside it was a black rat. It was as big as a mountain. Its breath carried a strong demonic aura. The demonic beasts in this place were extremely powerful. I haven't eaten wild meat in a long time. I wonder how the meat is? A strange voice suddenly sounded. Suddenly, the whole street quieted down. Many people turned their heads, looking for the strong man who dared to say such arrogant words. Soon, they locked onto a handsome young scholar. They looked at him carefully and shook their heads. No matter how they looked at him, he didn't look like a strong man. It was impossible for him to say such words. No one paid attention to him after a few jeers. The young scholar blinked and said, "If you don't behave, I'll sell you." This young scholar was Lin Xian in disguise. The arrogant voice from before was the work of the Crimson Dragon. After changing his appearance, Lin Xian came to the place where the beasts were fighting. There were many onlookers in front of him. They cheered from time to time. Lin Xian was curious, so he walked over to take a look. He saw 2 mutated beasts fighting in the huge cage before him. One of them was a black tiger with white tiger stripes all over its body. It was very strange and mysterious. His opponent was a 3-meter-tall divine condor. Its golden feathers were like golden steel and emitted a dazzling light. Whoosh! The divine condor flew into the air like a ball of golden flames as it charged towards the black tiger. Roar! The black tiger was enraged. It let out a roar and leaped into the sky. Its sharp claws were like swords and sabers that tore through the void. Boom! Clang! Bang! In the blink of an eye, the 2 beasts collided dozens of times. Every time they collided, it was as if lightning had struck each other. The golden divine eagle let out a cry. Like a bolt of golden lightning, it quickly grabbed at the head of the black tiger below, wanting to crush it. Ka! This attack was narrowly dodged by Black Tiger. However, the hard ground was shattered and countless terrifying cracks appeared. The center had been reduced to dust. The strength of the 2 exotic beasts drew cheers from the crowd. Countless people were cheering, and the atmosphere was lively. Soon, the black tiger was enraged. The white tiger stripes on its body shone brightly, and a powerful aura spread out from it. It was a terrifying energy that carried a terrifying pressure. As soon as this aura was released, the surrounding beasts immediately prostrated themselves as if they were worshipping their king. Could it be the power of bloodline? Some martial artists were shocked and exclaimed. Not only did martial artists have the power of bloodline, but beasts also had the power of bloodline. They were not weaker than humans at all. The black tiger in front of them obviously had the power of bloodline. Roar! The white tiger stripes were like white jade. They were extremely dazzling and formed a huge shadow of a black tiger above. It looked disdainfully as if a real demon had descended. The golden divine eagle felt threatened and let out an even sharper cry. Its body shone with golden light, and every feather was as sharp as a divine sword. Its entire body seemed to be covered with a layer of golden divine flames. Its aura was not weaker than the black tiger in front of it at all. Although it did not have the power of bloodline, the golden divine eagle was not weak. Especially its eyes. They were as bright as the sun, as if they could see through everything. Divine eagle eyes. Could this be the legendary divine eagle eyes? Someone exclaimed again, looking very excited. What's the divine eagle eyes? Some martial artists were puzzled and asked. The The divine eagle eyes is said to be able to see through everything. It can see the trajectory of the opponent's moves. It's very powerful. This divine ability originally belonged to the demon race. It was later evolved into a divine ability by the human race's experts. I didn't expect this divine eagle to have such a powerful divine ability like the divine eagle eyes. Roar! An earth-shattering sound rang out, as if thousands of thunderbolts were descending. As the black tiger moved, the huge tiger soul above it also launched an attack. Boom! This attack seemed to devour the sky and split the earth. The entire ground cracked like a python's web. The huge cage also shook and was about to break open. Everyone was shocked and quickly retreated. Fortunately, streaks of colorful light suddenly appeared on the ground, forming a huge rectangular light array that enveloped the two mutated beasts. This was a defensive array set up by the experts of the War Beast Castle. Dust clouds filled the air, and rocks flew everywhere. The momentum was extremely terrifying. However, the golden divine eagle was not hurt. Its eyes emitted a golden light that could see through everything. In other words, it had completely seen through the black tiger's powerful attack. In the next moment, the golden divine eagle appeared in the void. It spread its wings like two clouds of golden mist. On its wings, every feather shone like a divine sword. Buzz! The golden feathers were like divine light, forming streaks of sword chi that shot down quickly. It was as if thousands of divine swords were surging in the sky. The entire rectangular space was completely covered. This divine ability was very shocking. 108,000 streaks of divine light joined together and quickly drowned the black tiger. Roar! 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 The black tiger was unwilling to resist. It led the huge shadow to counterattack. However, the golden light was too sharp. It directly pierced through the shadow and body of the black tiger, nailing it to the ground. Blood flowed. A powerful mutated beast had died. The divine eagle retracted its wings and stood proudly, looking disdainfully at the surroundings. Everyone was shocked and couldn't recover for a long time. At this moment, the people of the War Beast Castle smiled faintly and said loudly, "This is the golden divine eagle, a 9th rank demonic beast. It is still in its infancy. Its future is limitless. This time, we will launch a beast battle. Which expert is willing to give it a try? If you win, you can take it away directly. You only need to pay 100,000 mid-grade spiritual stones to fight with this divine eagle. You can even obtain this powerful mutated beast. 100,000 mid-grade spiritual stones is a precious opportunity. Everyone, don't miss it." Hearing that, the entire War Beast Castle became excited. Countless martial artists were envious and excited. They couldn't wait to go up and fight. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. Chapter 788. The Colosseum's decision made everyone excited. Many of them were eager to give it a try. They had seen how powerful the golden condor was. Even the mutated black tiger with bloodline power was no match for it. Moreover, it was only in its infancy. If they could subdue it and wait until it reached adulthood, it would definitely be a super powerful help. No one wanted to miss such a good opportunity. The middle-aged man from the Colosseum smiled at the fiery scene and continued, "Now, I will state the requirements of the competition. First, you can only subdue it. You can't kill it. Otherwise, you will become the enemy of our Colosseum. Second, although this golden feather temple is extraordinary, it is only a 9th rank demonic beast, which is equivalent to the human spirit detecting realm. Therefore, those who participate in the competition must suppress their cultivation to the spirit detecting realm. As long as these two conditions are met, you can participate in the competition. Of course, if someone doesn't know how to suppress their cultivation, we also have a special formation that can definitely help you. Now, everyone make your decision." Hearing this, everyone started to discuss again. However, most of them shook their heads, and the fiery passion in their eyes disappeared. This golden feather temple was too powerful. Its combat power was definitely comparable to a venerable. Suppressing one's cultivation to the spirit-detecting realm to fight with it was an act of seeking death. Although everyone was envious, they weren't fools. They wouldn't do such a dangerous thing. Suppressing cultivation? Not bad. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He was interested. Then he stood up and walked toward the Colosseum. In the crowd, many martial artists were discussing. Among them, there were a few young men in luxurious clothes. Their eyes were shining. This golden feather temple is not bad. If we can train it to be a mount, it will definitely be cool, said a young man. Oh, Brother Chin, are you interested? The person beside him smiled. I am indeed interested. However, suppressing my cultivation might be a little tricky. After all, this beast has the divine eagle eye. It can't be underestimated. The martial artist called Brother Chun hesitated. Suppressing his cultivation meant that he couldn't use the power of his martial soul. Therefore, it was normal for this young man to hesitate. That's easy. The young man in silver-white clothes smiled and said, If Brother Chin is willing, I can talk to the Colosseum. I can guarantee that Brother Chun will be unharmed. Really? Chinda's eyes lit up. He knew the identity of this young man. This young man had a deep relationship with this war beast castle. If he asked, he would definitely be able to do it. Thank you, Brother Lung. Chinda cupped his fists. Don't worry. Leave it to me, the silver-clothed youth said with a smile. Soon he returned. And now, that person did not seem to have any intention of stopping. Seeing that, his face darkened, and he shouted coldly, Stop right there! You in front, I'm talking to you. Stop right there. That shout was like a clap of thunder that resounded in all directions. Finally, the figure in front stopped. That figure was naturally Lin Xian. He was quite interested in that matter, so he wanted to give it a try. However, he did not expect that someone would interrupt him. Lin Xian turned his head and frowned slightly. What's the matter? His voice was cold, and there was even a hint of displeasure. Of course, anyone would be displeased to be stopped for that matter. Moreover, the other party's attitude was so bad. Therefore, it was normal for Lin Xian to be displeased. However, that attitude was different in Chinda's eyes. How dare a little scholar treat him with that kind of attitude? He was displeased. Who was he? He was a disciple of Senmu College, a prodigy among prodigies, and the young master of the Qin family. Did he not see that even the Lung family wanted to curry favor with him? You're just a nameless little scholar. You should be grateful that I didn't make you kneel. How dare you talk to me like that? In Chenda's opinion, that was unforgivable. Kid, leave if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude, Chinda said gloomily. He wanted to get his hands on the golden-feathered eagle first before dealing with the other party. Leave. Why should I leave? I want to fight, Lin Xian said calmly. Fight? You? Chinda sneered. He did not sense any powerful aura from the other party. Moreover, from the looks of it, the other party did not seem to be a powerful expert. Therefore, in his opinion, the other party's fight was a joke. Kid, I'm giving you a warning out of kindness. If you go in like that, you'll be eaten in less than one move. So hurry up and leave. Chapter 789. Chinda's words were full of contempt and disdain. The others also laughed and shook their heads. They had witnessed the power of the golden-feathered divine eagle. Ordinary martial artists would not be able to subdue it, let alone this skinny young scholar. You don't have to worry about whether or not I'll be eaten, Lin Xian said calmly, then turned around. Chin-da trembled with anger when he heard that. This kid was really arrogant. However, he could not act rashly. After all, he had already revealed his identity. If he fought with a nameless martial artist, it would be a loss of face. At that moment, Lung Yu walked out of the crowd and said coldly, Brother Chin is a genius disciple of Senmu College. He said that for your own good. Moreover, Brother Chen was the one who suggested this fight. You should know the rules of first come, first served. His voice was sinister and carried a serious warning. First, his words revealed Chen-da's identity again, revealing his identity as a student of Senmu College. Ordinary people would not dare to provoke someone from Senmu College. Second, he stood at the top of the rules and pointed out that Chen-da was the one who suggested it. Logically speaking, Chen-da should be the one to do it. If it were anyone else, they would have been scared out of their wits. But Lin Xian did not react. Senmu College? Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. Using this identity to bully others was fine, but it was useless against him. Senmu College is very powerful, but the same can't be said for its disciples. After all, there are all kinds of birds in the forest. As for the issue of first come first, I'm really sorry. Before Brother Chin said anything, I had already moved. So, logically speaking, I should be the one to go first, Lin Xian said calmly. The surrounding martial artists were shocked. This young scholar looked weak, but when he spoke he was not weak at all. He dares to compete with someone from Senmu College. How bold! Not necessarily. He might be an expert. Everyone discussed. They felt that this young scholar might be extraordinary and an expert. Lung Yu and Chen-da looked gloomy. Chen-da stared at Lin Xian with an unfriendly gaze. If they were not in public, he would have killed Lin Xian with a palm. Lung Yu sneered. Since you insist, I can't do anything about it. As for the order you mentioned, we really didn't see it. How about this? Let's let the people from the War Beast Castle decide. They know who arrived first. What do you think? Lung Yu stood with his hands behind his back. At this moment, the middle-aged man from the War Beast Castle quickly said, Young Master Chin arrived first. He should be the one to fight first. Haha, what do you think? You shouldn't be able to refute the words of the War Beast Castle, right? Lung Yu looked at Lin Xian with a mocking smile. He was, of course. Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Although no one noticed, many ancient martial art practitioners had seen that Lin Xian was the first to move. The people from the War Beast Castle should also know, but now they said that Chen-da arrived first. The meaning was self-evident. It seemed that the young scholar was going to be unlucky. Lin Xian looked at Lung Yu and the middle-aged man's expression and immediately understood. He sneered in his heart. If he guessed correctly, this arrogant young man was in cahoots with the War Beast Castle. However, he did not point out. Instead, the corner of his mouth rose. If that's the case, then I will wait. I think it won't be long before I can go on stage. Lin Xian chuckled. He then walked to the side, opened his folding fan, and rested comfortably. Humph! Lung Yu snorted and smiled at Chen-da. Brother Chin, please! Chen-da nodded and stared at Lin Xian. If I go on stage, you won't have any chance. That's not necessarily true. Lin Xian smiled faintly. Idiot! Lung Yu sneered in his heart. He had already arranged everything. How could there be a mistake? Chen-da also looked arrogant. Kid, open your eyes and see what a genius is. Then, he quickly walked into the War Beast cage. How is it? Are you ready? Lung Yu asked. Don't worry, young Master Yu. The beast tamer is ready. This time, that beast won't even be able to use half of its strength. The middle-aged man from the War Beast Castle also transmitted his voice. War Beast Castle. This War Beast Castle was actually the Lung family's force. No wonder Lung Yu was so confident. Lung Yu gave Chen-da a done look, then retreated to the side. Buzz! A huge blue light matrix was formed. covering the entire warbeast cage to prevent the energy from leaking out. At the same time, next to the middle-aged man from the warbeast castle, there was a martial artist wearing a big black robe, secretly controlling the golden-feathered divine eagle in the matrix. "Be my mount obediently. This is your glory." Chenda sneered and quickly rushed toward the golden-feathered divine eagle. Boom! A terrifying big palm fell, grabbing at the golden-feathered divine eagle. Although its strength was suppressed, its power was still very terrifying. As a mutated beast, the golden-feathered divine eagle was arrogant. How could it allow a human to challenge it? Therefore, in the next moment, it also attacked, grabbing at Chinda. The huge golden claw covered the sky and quickly grabbed down, as if it could tear everything apart. Clang! The two collided, and a terrifying aura surged in all directions. Fortunately, there was the blue matrix, or the nearby area would be turned into ruins. The surrounding audience was shocked and carefully looked at the scene in front of them. Bang! 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 Chunda attacked continuously. The terrifying big palm covered the sky and the sun like a huge mountain, quickly attacking the opponent. Every time there was a thunderous sound. On the other hand, although the golden-feathered divine eagle was angry, it was firmly suppressed. This, everyone was shocked. They didn't expect the powerful golden-feathered divine eagle to be suppressed as soon as it came up. As expected of a disciple of Senmu College. He's really powerful. Yeah, even if his cultivation is suppressed, he's still incomparably powerful. Everyone praised. "Good job, Brother Chen. Brother Chen, you can do it." Lang Yi led a group of people and also cheered loudly. He wanted Chin to feel the feeling of being revered and worshipped. However, not everyone thought so. Some experts also noticed the clues, and their faces changed greatly. But out of fear of the Warbeast Castle and Senmu College, they didn't dare to say anything. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and sneered in his heart. With his eyes, he could naturally see that the golden-feathered divine eagle's strength was suppressed. It was afraid that it couldn't even use half of its strength now. Otherwise, Chinda wouldn't be a match for it. The crimson dragon slid out of Lin Xian's sleeve and said, "It's a beast tamer." Beast tamer. Lin Xian was a little surprised. Yes, a martial artist who can subdue and even control demonic beasts. They have special methods to prevent this stupid eagle from using its strength. So that's how it is. Lin Xian understood, and then he looked around. Soon, his gaze fell on the black-robed man beside the middle-aged man of the Warbeast Castle. He could sense a strange soul power from the other party's body. Chapter 790. If he didn't guess wrongly, this black-robed man was a beast tamer. Moreover, he could sense that the other party's palm hidden in his wide sleeves was constantly forming seals. It seemed to be forming some kind of mysterious force that was restraining the golden-feathered divine condor. Soul power. Lin Xian smiled. Although he didn't know how to tame beasts, he could still destroy the other party's plan. A trace of soul power was sent out, forming an invisible attack that rushed towards the void. Chi-chi. Lin Xian used his soul power as a sword to forcefully interfere with the other party's control. Boom! Sure enough, in the next moment, the golden-feathered divine condor screeched in the blue array. Its demonic aura soared into the sky and turned into golden flames that burned fiercely. A terrifying and violent aura gushed out like a stormy sea, slapping in all directions. Chunda's expression changed drastically. He was pushed away by the aura and then fell to the ground in a sorry state. Hua! All around, the spectators were in an uproar. They didn't expect such a situation to happen. The battle was originally one-sided. Chunda was suppressing the golden-feathered divine condor and was about to subdue it. Who knew that at the crucial moment there would be a sudden change? The golden-feathered divine condor that seemed to be on the verge of collapse suddenly had a powerful aura. Its demonic aura was even stronger than the sea. What was going on? Lung Yu's expression was gloomy. She looked at the middle-aged man from the Warbeast castle and gave him a questioning look. The middle-aged man's expression wasn't good either. He turned around and asked the black-robed man beside him, "Someone is interfering." The black-robed man transmitted his voice. However, it shouldn't be a beast tamer. The other party's method was very crude. It was completely for the sake of destroying. "Is it under control now?" the middle-aged man asked. "Don't worry, leave it to me," the black-robed man sneered. Just a layman who didn't know how to use soul power. His 10 fingers danced, forming an inexplicable force that quickly attacked the golden-feathered divine condor, suppressing its strength again. Soon, the golden-feathered divine condor's body trembled. The powerful golden flames on its body weakened again. "Humph! Bastard, you're courting death." Seeing this, Chinda roared in anger. He quickly rushed out, preparing to take down the golden-feathered divine condor. He didn't make a move just now because he wanted to show off in front of the crowd and enjoy the admiring gazes, who knew that the other party would suddenly exert force and push him back. Fortunately, he was calm enough and did not show anything. Now that the other party was weakened again, he could take him down in one fell swoop. Thinking of this, he was proud of his wit. Let it end. Chunda roared in rage and punched out. The terrifying fist was incomparably resplendent, as though it could split the heavens and earth apart, tearing the air apart. Light soared into the sky and covered the entire blue array. The golden-feathered divine condor struggled with all its might and let out an unwilling roar. However, it was still unable to break free from its control. Recovered again? To the side, Lin Xian was also surprised. The other party was able to shake off his interference so quickly. It seemed that he was not a weakling. However, competing with him in soul force was truly courting death. Without any expression on his face, he once again used his soul power to form an invisible sword and quickly slashed at the void. This attack was much more powerful than the previous probing attack. It directly severed the connection between the beast tamer and the golden-feathered divine eagle. Boom! In the next moment, the golden-feathered divine eagle became more powerful again. A terrifying aura gushed out in an instant. Golden light filled the air and shone brightly. The beast swung its claws and repelled Chinda's fist. Then it spread its wings and screeched at the sky. On the feathers, golden light shone brightly and formed golden-sharp swords that flew out quickly. The void was pierced, and terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Chunda was terrified, and his expression changed drastically. If he had not suppressed his cultivation base, he could have resisted this attack. However, now that his cultivation base had been suppressed to the spirit-detecting realm, he could not resist at all. No. With a scream, Chunda's face turned pale as he quickly fled to the back. This change caused the surrounding martial artists to exclaim again. They waited with their eyes wide open, unable to believe the scene before them. Chunda, who was incomparably arrogant before, was now like a stray dog, fleeing quickly. He was in a very sorry state. So this is the power of a semi-college expert. It's really an eye-opener. Lin Xian sneered. This time he used his spiritual power to let his voice spread clearly in all directions. As soon as he said this, many people immediately roared with laughter. However, Chunda's current performance was no different from an ordinary martial artist. He did not look like an expert at all. Lung Yu's face was gloomy. He could not care about Lin Xian now, and directly sent a voice transmission. "What's going on? Damn it, someone cut off the connection with my golden-feathered divine eagle." The black-robed man was unusually angry. "Young Master Yu, what should we do?" The middle-aged man also showed a trace of uneasiness. If Chunda was injured, their plan would be ruined. quickly get rid of the cultivation-based suppression array. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Chinda. Brother Chin, there is no cultivation-based suppression anymore. Quickly use your martial soul. After hearing this, Chinda no longer cared about his previous bold words and directly used his martial soul. Boom! The aura of a venerable erupted, and it was incomparably powerful. In the next moment, Chinda let out a long roar, turned around and punched out, colliding with the golden light that filled the sky. The energy exploded and the void trembled. The light soared into the sky, drowning everything. The surrounding people were shocked. They did not expect Chinda to use his martial soul. This was completely different from what the War Beast Castle said before. However, Chinda clearly did not care so much. He used his martial soul and fought with the golden-feathered divine eagle. On the other side, the black-robed man urged his soul power again, trying to regain control of the golden-feathered divine eagle. However, Lin Xian did not give him a chance. He also used his soul power to destroy the eagle. Damn it, who is it? The black-robed man was furious. He realized that the other party's soul power was very powerful, even surpassing his own. He could not accept this. Originally, he thought that the other party was an amateur who only knew how to use soul power to barge around. He was not his opponent at all. But now he realized that was not the case. Maybe the other party really did not know how to control demonic beasts. But in terms of using soul power, the other party was not inferior to him at all. Humph! The middle-aged man from the War Beast Castle also had a gloomy face. His eyes were like torches as he scanned the surroundings, trying to find the culprit. Lung Yu was also on the move. Several people searched, but there was no result. In the end, their gaze fell on Lin Xian. At present, the most suspicious person was this seemingly calm young scholar. However, they did not find anything unusual on Lin Xian. This made them gnash their teeth in hatred. After half a day, they did not even find the culprit. This was even worse than slapping their faces directly. Lin Xian's expression was calm, but he sneered in his heart. These people still wanted to find his flaw. What a joke! When he did not have the heaven-changing technique, his soul power was already incomparably powerful. Now that he had the heaven-changing technique, he could deceive everyone. With these people's strength, they could not discover his soul power at all. Chapter 791. Just as these people were looking for the person who had attacked in the dark, the battle in the battle cage changed once again. Although Chenda used his martial spirit and became stronger, the golden-feathered divine condor seemed to be provoked and became incomparably furious. It launched powerful attacks without any regard for its life. It couldn't be helped. It had been really stifled before. The hateful human in front of it had used some unknown method to reduce its strength by half and even suppress it for a while. As an exotic beast, it couldn't bear it. Therefore, now that there was a chance, it decided to take revenge. It had to kill the detestable human in front of it. The light in his eyes flickered like two suns, releasing incomparably dazzling light. Divine eagle eye! Chinda's pupils shrank. He was already on the verge of collapsing. With the addition of the condor eyes, he would definitely be finished. He didn't even want to fight anymore. He just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. What mount? What reputation? Nothing was more important than his life. Boom! The golden-feathered divine condor unleashed a terrifying attack, blasting Chinda flying again. Scram! Chinda swung his fists, forming fist shadows that filled the sky. It was as if countless meteors were descending with great momentum. However, the golden-feathered, godly condor had the godly eagle eyes and could see through everything. Its body was like a golden bolt of lightning, shuttling back and forth between the fist shadows. It was not hurt at all. Instead, it got closer and closer to Chinda. In the next moment, it finally arrived in front of Chinda. With a wave of its sharp claws, it became the size of a house and quickly descended, bringing with it boundless golden light. Puff! Chunda spat out a mouthful of blood. He couldn't hold on any longer and was sent flying. He crashed into the blue matrix, causing the earth to tremble. Brother Lung, save me. Finally, Chunda's heart was filled with fear. He no longer dared to fight and quickly called for help. Lung Yu's face was gloomy. He had long wanted to make a move. If Chunda was injured in their bestial battle arena, then all his plans would be ruined. But if he rashly stopped Chunda, he was afraid of hurting Chunda's face, so he was in a dilemma. Now that Chunda took the initiative to speak, he let out a sigh of relief. Without Lung Yu's instructions, the middle-aged man from the Warbeast Castle was already prepared. He immediately removed the blue defensive array. Seeing the blue array disappear, Chunda immediately rushed out and quickly fled. The golden-feathered divine eagle cried out and wanted to soar into the sky, but it was firmly restrained by the black-robed beast tamer. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect this to happen. Lin Xian sneered. He waved his folding fan and slowly walked to Chunda's side. Is this the battle of geniuses you wanted me to watch? I don't see any genius. I only see a stray dog. How ironic. Lin Xian said mercilessly. Brat, you're courting death. Chunda was enraged, killing intent surfacing in his eyes. What's wrong? You're tough now. Why was he so cowardly just now? A venerable running away from a rank 9 demonic beast? What a joke. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect a student of Senma College to be so weak. Chunda was so angry that he was trembling. His lips trembled as he glared at Lin Xian. He wanted nothing more than to tear him apart. However, he couldn't do anything. Firstly, he was injured, and his qi, blood, and spiritual energy were in a mess. Secondly, what the other party said was the truth, so he couldn't refute it. For a moment, he was stunned on the spot. His face alternated between red and white, and he wished he could find a hole to hide in. However, that was probably the most embarrassing day of his life. At that moment, Lang Yu walked over. He snorted and said, It's not Brother Chen's fault. The beast suddenly went crazy and caught Brother Chen off guard. Didn't you see that Brother Chen had been suppressing his opponent in the early stages? Mistake? Lin Xian sneered. Who was the one who boasted shamelessly that he was a genius from Senma College and that his strength was so strong that I had to open my eyes wide. I did observe carefully, but I didn't see how strong he was. Instead, the golden-feathered condor in the early stages was dispirited and couldn't even use half of its strength. I'm afraid someone did something to it. What did you say? After being exposed in public, Lung Yu's face darkened. A murderous intent appeared in his eyes as he pointed it at Lin Xian. What? You dare to do it, but don't dare to admit it? Lin Xian sneered. Don't treat everyone as fools. I'm not the only one who saw your despicable behavior. I'm afraid many people here know about it. Nonsense. I don't understand what you're talking about. Lung Yu said in a deep voice. Yeah, that's not Brother Chen's true strength. This is a mistake. If you don't believe me, you can ask the Colosseum. The few young men who followed Ling Yu also spoke out. That's true. Even the middle-aged man from the Colosseum said, This time the golden-feathered condor really went crazy and disturbed young Master Chin. Please forgive us. Hearing this, everyone was shocked and looked at this scene in disbelief. They naturally noticed the abnormality before, but they didn't expect the people from the Colosseum to be biased. Moreover, it was twice. This made them extremely shocked. They didn't dare to believe it. One must know that although there was an inside story in the Colosseum, they still had to maintain fairness in front of everyone. However, the Colosseum didn't even care about this bit of fairness. It was indeed shocking and somewhat chilling. How about it, kid? Even the people from the Colosseum said that the beast went crazy. What else do you have to say? I think you're just jealous and came here to pick a fight. The few young men sneered. Yeah, didn't you say you'll go? Why don't you go? I'm afraid you won't even be able to block one move. Everyone knows how to quarrel. If you have the ability, show me your true strength. If you can win, I'll call you Grandpa. The few of them mocked and ridiculed. They didn't put Lin Xian in their eyes at all. Of course I'll go. Lin Xian said coldly, this golden-feathered condor was originally mine. It's just that some people want to make a fool of themselves. Humph, what are you talking about? I don't believe you can subdue it. Chinda refused to accept it. He didn't succeed, so he naturally didn't want others to succeed, especially Lin Xian. If Chinda really subdued it, it would be a slap to his face in front of everyone. He had already suffered a heavy blow in his life. He couldn't bear it a second time. Therefore, he looked at Leng Yu. He knew that Leng Yu had a way to make everyone lose. This meant that it wasn't his strength that was the problem, but the golden-feathered condor. This was his only chance to save face. Leng Yu nodded slightly. He naturally knew what Chinda was thinking. He had the same idea. Therefore, he transmitted his voice to the middle-aged man and the beast tamer to get ready. This time we can't make a mistake. The middle-aged man whispered to the beast tamer beside him. Don't worry. It's much easier to make the golden-feathered condor angry than to suppress it. The black-robed man smiled confidently. Moreover, after what happened just now, I'm afraid we don't need to instigate it. The golden-feathered condor is already in a berserk state. That's for the best. That kid dares to go against us. We won't let him off easily. The middle-aged man's eyes were gloomy. It would be best if he could stay in the cage forever. The two of them looked at each other and laughed coldly. It was as if Lin Xian's life was already in their hands. Chapter 792. Lin Xian didn't need to eavesdrop at all. Just by looking at their expressions, he knew what they were thinking. Sneering in his heart, Lin Xian slowly walked into the cage. Crack! Boom! In the next moment, the cage was slammed shut. Then, a blue light lit up and quickly formed a blue array that sealed the entire small space. Lin Xian and the golden-feathered divine eagle were locked in the sealed array. Soon, Lin Xian felt an inexplicable force surge out, suppressing his cultivation to the spirit-detecting realm. In the outside world, Leng Yu and the others sneered, waiting for the scene of Lin Xian being torn apart. On the other hand, the onlookers were very worried and watched nervously. In the cage, the golden-feathered divine eagle was enraged when it saw a human walk in again. It hadn't vented all the anger in its heart before, and now it wanted to vent all of it. It wanted to tear the human in front of it apart. With a furious roar, its demonic aura surged like golden demonic flames. The flames burned, distorting the air. It had to be said that the golden-feathered divine eagle was indeed powerful. Although it was only a rank 9 demonic beast, its strength was not inferior to a venerable realm cultivator at all. In an instant, the entire cage was enveloped by golden demonic flames, as if it was the fire of hell. Seeing this, the middle-aged man and the beast tamer sneered. As expected, the golden-feathered divine eagle will be enraged without us doing anything. However, before the black-robed man's laughter disappeared, his pupils suddenly constricted, and his face was filled with surprise as if someone had grabbed his neck. What? That's impossible! He shrieked in shock. Beside him, the middle-aged man also frowned with an ugly expression. Leng Yu, Chinda, and the others were stunned on the spot. The surrounding cultivators also looked at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Many of them swallowed their saliva with difficulty. How is this possible? In the cage, the enraged, golden-feathered divine eagle was now extremely docile, like an obedient sparrow. It was no longer as ferocious as before. The monstrous, golden demonic flames had long disappeared. Even the golden-feathered divine eagle was trembling, not daring to approach Lin Xian. What's going on? Everyone was stunned. The golden feathered divine eagle was an extremely ferocious demonic beast. Previously, it had even killed the black tiger that possessed the power of bloodline. Not only that, not long ago, it had even beaten Chinda to the point where he was seriously injured. That terrifying aura was unforgettable to the spectators. But now it was as if it had changed into a demonic beast, becoming incomparably docile. This is impossible. Could it be that the scholar has some special means? No special method is possible. No one can make the golden feathered divine condor so docile. An expert shook his head, unable to understand. Lung Yu and Chinda's faces darkened. Damn it, who the hell is this guy? Especially Chinda. His face was distorted to the point that it didn't look human anymore. His eyes were burning with rage, and his entire person was incomparably savage. It couldn't be helped. He couldn't accept this scene. One had to know that he had been abused by the golden-feathered divine eagle before, and he had almost died. And his opponent, a weak scholar, was actually safe and sound? This huge difference drove him crazy. If Lin Fan really managed to subdue the golden-feathered divine condor, his face would be trampled on by Lin Fan. At that time, he would become a joke in Wenfeng City. Damn it, I want him to die. Chinda roared ferociously. On the side, Lun Yu's face was also gloomy. This scholar in front of him had ruined his plan time and time again, causing him to have endless killing intent. He had decided that he must kill Lin Fan here. Hurry up and do it. We can't let him succeed. In the War Beast Castle, the middle-aged man said coldly. On the side, the black-robed man's face was cold. He quickly used a beast-taming technique to control the golden-feathered divine condor. He had already recovered from the previous shock. At this moment, his heart was filled with killing intent. At that moment, he was mercilessly slapped in the face, so now he must kill Lin Fan. Die, brat! The black-robed man's heart was ferocious. He used a powerful method to make the golden-feathered divine condor go berserk. Boom! In the cage, the originally docile, golden-feathered divine condor suddenly erupted with a powerful aura again, enveloping the surroundings. In those golden eyes, the original fear was replaced by a touch of madness. On the opposite side, Lin Xian easily revealed a trace of surprise. Just now, he let the Crimson Dragon release a trace of dragon's might to intimidate the golden-feathered divine condor. That was why the previous scene happened. But now, the golden-feathered divine condor went berserk again, as if it was not afraid of the dragon's might, which surprised him a little. It seemed that it was because of that beast-tamer again. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up slightly. He was even more interested in the beast-tamer profession. Rumble. The golden-feathered divine condor went berserk. At the same time, it opened its wings and condensed countless golden rays of light. A powerful and violent aura spread out, filling the entire cage. It was as if a peerless beast had awakened, incomparably terrifying. Puff! Puff! Countless golden rays of light surged out, like thousands of snakes coming out of their holes, pouncing forward. It's here, the ultimate skill of the golden-feathered divine condor! Everyone exclaimed. Lung Yu, Chinda, and the others also revealed a sneer. This time, that kid would definitely not be able to escape. Are you going to use your ultimate skill? Lin Xian held a folding fan in his hand with a calm expression. In the next moment, he waved his hand, and the spiritual energy behind him surged rapidly, forming a pair of wings. It was a pair of golden wings, and every feather on it was lifelike as if they were real. When the wings spread out, it filled the entire blue array. Boom! The golden wings of spiritual energy shook, condensing into 108,000 rays of sword light that shot out quickly. The two collided, and a shocking explosion occurred, causing the entire blue array to shake nonstop, as if it was about to split open. What kind of martial skill is this? It's the same as the golden-feathered divine condor's ultimate skill. Everyone was shocked, and they were speechless. That young scholar was too mysterious. First, he made the violent, golden-feathered divine condor docile, and then he used its ultimate skill. It was too unbelievable. Lan Yu, Chinda, and the others were even more shocked. They did not expect that the scholar would be so strange. In the cage, dazzling light flashed, and soon the victor was decided. 108,000 golden swords were incomparably sharp, and they tore through the void with a terrifying, murderous aura. In an instant, they shattered the opponent's golden light and then rushed toward the golden-feathered divine condor. The void trembled, and it was as if 10,000 lightning bolts were surging. It was terrifying to the extreme. Bang! The golden-feathered divine condor was enveloped by the sword light, and it was sent flying. Feathers scattered all over the sky, and they were like flickering shadows, incomparably dazzling. So terrifying. Is this really the strength of the spirit-detecting realm? Everyone was dumbfounded, and they did not dare to believe it. The attack just now was too terrifying. Not to mention the spirit-detecting realm. Even an honorable realm expert might not be able to use it. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that the golden-feathered divine condor was actually defeated. One move, just one move, and the powerful golden-feathered divine condor was defeated by Lin Xian. Not only them, even the people from the War Beast Castle were stunned. The middle-aged man's face stiffened, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Chapter 793. The corner of the middle-aged man's mouth twitched. His face was filled with shock. He had personally cast the formation to suppress the cultivation of the person inside to the harmonious spirit realm. In other words, the opponent had defeated the golden feather divine condor with a single strike while being only at the spirit-detecting realm. This was simply too shocking. The black-robed man's face was even more ferocious. As a mysterious beast tamer, he was able to tame ferocious demonic beasts. Just now, he had successfully controlled the golden feather divine condor and made it go berserk. However, he couldn't change the outcome. He couldn't bear it. He wanted revenge. Gritting his teeth, the black-robed man quickly formed a seal, his eyes revealing a trace of madness. Since he couldn't defeat it, he would perish together. In the next moment, the golden feather divine condor let out a miserable cry. Its voice was like a devil's voice, piercing through the clouds. On its body, countless golden demonic chi surged and began to burn. It was extremely strange. Those golden eyes were filled with pain and madness. What's going on? Did the golden feather divine condor not lose? It still wants to counterattack? Everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe it. Lin Xian's eyes were gloomy. He could naturally see that this wasn't the golden feather divine condor's intention. It was the beast tamer's doing. Boom! The golden feather divine condor couldn't bear it anymore. Its body gradually expanded, and it crashed towards Lin Xian. It looked like it wanted to perish together. Humph! Lin Xian snorted. His soul force gushed out crazily, turning into a soul sword, quickly slashing towards the void. This time he didn't hold back. Puff! The invisible attack seemed to have cut some kind of mysterious thread, causing a slight cracking sound. In the next moment, the golden feather divine condor's eyes regained clarity. Its body gradually stopped. As for the black-robed man, his body trembled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Impossible. He couldn't stop trembling. His eyes were filled with fear. The opponent's soul force could actually hurt him. This was completely out of his expectation. Fear, it was all fear. At this moment, the black-robed man was extremely frightened. He didn't dare to attack again. Moreover, he didn't have the ability to attack anymore. Soul Force's attack was extremely strange and dangerous. The slightest carelessness could cost one's life. That sword strike just now had already seriously injured him. He probably wouldn't be able to fight for a few months. The middle-aged man was even more shocked. He knew the strength of this black-robed man. He was a very powerful beast tamer, and his family had spent a lot of money to invite him. But now he was actually injured. We can't let him go. This kid definitely has secrets on him. The black-robed man struggled to speak. Every word he spoke was filled with pain, and his brow furrowed. At such a young age, it was impossible for him to have such powerful soul force. This little brat must have some kind of soul force artifact on him. He had to snatch it. Hearing this, the middle-aged man's eyes flickered with greed. Soul force was the most difficult type of energy to cultivate. Apart from exalted realm experts, soul force would be able to grow a little. It was very difficult for other cultivators to find a way to cultivate it. Even a venerable one might not have a cultivation technique that specialized in soul power. And now, there seemed to be an opportunity. Thinking of this, he sneered again. Inside the cage, Lin Xian severed the beast tamer's control with a single slash of his sword, saving the golden-feathered divine eagle from death. Then he walked in front of the eagle and said coldly, "I know that with your intelligence you should be able to understand what I'm saying. Are you willing to come with me?" The golden-feathered divine eagle lay weakly on the ground. At this moment, when it heard Lin Xian's words, its golden eyes flickered. Without any hesitation, it quickly nodded. Lin Xian nodded in satisfaction. He took out a cup of spiritual wine and fed it to it. Not long after, the golden-feathered divine eagle stood up. It flapped its wings and came to Lin Xian's side. Then it used its head to rub against Lin Xian intimately. "All right, follow me. In the future, you will definitely surpass the extraordinary level." Lin Xian patted it. "Let's go." He turned around and walked outside. However, in the next moment he frowned because the door of the cage did not open. Even the blue array outside did not disappear. The people outside were also in an uproar. Lin Xian had successfully subdued the golden-feathered divine eagle, which shocked them. Quite a few people cheered and cheered for him. After all, in this world, people worshipped the strong. However, what shocked them was that Lin Xian seemed to be trapped in the cage and could not come out. As for the people of the War Beast Castle, they did not make any moves. It seemed that they had no intention of releasing the captive. For a moment, the atmosphere became a little strange. Lung Yu and Qin sneered malevolently. Originally, Lin Xian's subduing of the golden-feathered divine eagle made them feel uncomfortable and disgraced. But now, they were no longer afraid because they wanted to make him stay here forever. Hee. So what if you have the golden-feathered divine eagle? You will just die with it. Chenda's face was distorted. In the cage, Lin Xian frowned and turned to look at the War Beast Castle. "What do you mean? You can't bear to part with it, or you can't afford to lose. Young hero, you misunderstood." The middle-aged man smiled and said, "After the competition, just now, we found that the golden-feathered divine eagle is very abnormal and has a tendency to destroy. For your safety, we have to take the golden-feathered divine eagle back first. After ensuring your safety, we will give it to you." In front of everyone, the middle-aged man acted like a good person and said with concern, "Are you sure it's safe?" Lin Xian smiled. "I don't need it. Hurry up and guard the door." How could he not know the other party's plan? They probably wanted to renege on the debt. That won't do. After all, this demonic beast came from our War Beast Castle. If it injures you, it will not be good for our castle's reputation. The middle-aged man slowly said, "Yeah, the Divine Wind War Beast Castle pays great attention to safety, so you should wait for a while." Lung Yu walked out. "After ensuring your safety, we will certainly give it to you. Oh, by the way, young hero, please move. Let us properly entertain you." The people of the War Beast Castle smiled and said, their words carried a hint of coldness. The surrounding martial artists were shocked. This was obviously the war beast castle trying to renege on the debt. Moreover, they had bad intentions. Thinking of this, everyone sighed. It seemed that the scholar was in danger. After all, no matter how powerful he was, he would not be able to fight against a huge war beast castle. Bang! The blue array blossomed with rays of light and formed countless blue light pillars. They quickly fell and trapped the golden-feathered divine eagle. The golden-feathered divine eagle was furious. It quickly charged forward, but to no avail. It was unable to rush out. "You guys want to fight?" Lin Xian asked coldly. "How could that be? We are just thinking about your safety. We have good intentions." Although the middle-aged man was smiling, his laughter was very cold. "I think you should agree. Don't let down the war beast castle's good intentions." Lung Yu also revealed a trace of evil smile. "Don't worry, we will finish the inspection soon. At that time, we will certainly return the golden-feathered divine eagle to you. Now, take the golden-feathered divine eagle away." The middle-aged man shouted coldly. Soon after, the huge blue array blossomed with rays of light and formed a big blue hand. It quickly grabbed the trapped golden-feathered divine eagle. Chapter 794. Lin Xian had successfully captured the golden-feathered divine condor, but the war beast castle did not let him go. This scene was beyond everyone's expectations, especially when the big blue hand was about to grab the golden-feathered divine condor. It caused an uproar. Many people were furious. They did not believe the war beast castle's nonsense. Lin Xian naturally did not believe it either. His face was gloomy and his eyes turned cold. I'll say it again. "Let it go and open the prison door." Boom! While his voice was still echoing, the blue light in the sky shone brightly, forming 6 huge light pillars. Together with the ground, it formed a hexagram-sealed space, enveloping Lin Xian. "Young hero, don't be anxious. Wait here for a while." The middle-aged man revealed a sinister smile. "There might be danger during the inspection later, so we'll put down the defensive formation to protect you." Protect? Even the onlookers' mouths twitched. How was this protection? This was obviously imprisonment. However, when Lin Xian saw the ceiling light formation around him, he laughed as if he had just heard a funny joke. However, his eyes were cold, like a sharp sword, incomparably fierce. "You guys really think you've got me? Young hero, why do you think so?" The middle-aged man sneered. "This light formation is inscribed by a formation grandmaster. It can even resist the attack of a venerable. It can definitely protect young hero's safety." "That's right. You just stay here." Lung Yu sneered. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. To be able to resist the attack of a venerable. This was definitely very powerful. Perhaps the scholar was really done for. "Seems like you guys are very confident," Lin Xian said lightly. Then he raised his finger and quickly drew in the air. Buzz! Ka! The next moment, the huge, dazzling hexagram-sealed space suddenly trembled and made a cracking sound. Then it burst open and turned into countless fragments. Lin Xian looked calm. He walked out from inside and said slowly, "Did you guys remember wrongly, or was that formation Grandmaster lying to you? Is this formation really as powerful as you think it is?" As he said that, he waved his finger again and drew a sword chi, surging upward. Suddenly, the blue palm that caught the golden-feathered divine condor cracked and scattered on the ground like glass. Puff! The golden-feathered divine condor spread its wings and soared into the sky. It regained its freedom and quickly returned to Lin Xian's side. "Why do I feel that he's pitifully weak? Wah! What?" The middle-aged man's pupils constricted as he stood rooted to the ground. Leng Yu's face was also filled with fear. He screamed, "You broke it? How is this possible?" Shocking, too shocking. Everyone in the Colosseum was stunned. It was as if they had seen a ghost. They didn't dare to believe it. Chunda's body trembled as he shook his head frantically. Impossible, this is impossible. He was well aware of the power of the blue light array. Previously, he had not been able to break it with his martial soul, but now his opponent had actually broken it. What shocked them even more was that Lin Xian hadn't used his full strength to blast it open. Instead, he had casually waved his finger and destroyed the entire massive defensive formation. This was too shocking. Lin Xian had a smile on his face as he swept his gaze across the crowd. When Lang Yu felt that gaze, her body instantly trembled as fear rose in her heart. As for Chinda, he was even more unbearable. He was so frightened that he took 5 steps back. Humph, trash! Lin Xian retracted his gaze and said with disdain. You. Chinda's complexion turned ashen, but he didn't dare to make a move. Lang Yu's complexion wasn't good either. He could only snort coldly to express his dissatisfaction. Everyone was shocked. This young scholar was too domineering. Just a gaze was enough to scare 2 young geniuses. Lin Xian retracted his gaze and looked at the middle-aged man and the black-robed man from the Colosseum. The black-robed man's body also trembled. As a beast tamer, his soul power was very sensitive. He discovered that the soul power fluctuation on Lin Xian's body was exactly the same as the soul power that had injured him. After hearing this news, his eyes were filled with fear. He didn't dare to look at Lin Xian. The middle-aged man's face sank as he said, coldly, Our Colosseum was kind enough to protect young hero, but young hero destroyed our formation. This isn't too good. Not too good. Lin Xian laughed. You're still pretending even now. You're really good at acting. I don't understand what you're talking about. The middle-aged man had no choice but to brace himself and say, Humph. Lin Xian retracted his smile. He looked at the middle-aged man from the Colosseum and said coldly, You're saying that the golden feather divine eagle went crazy? Exactly. We just wanted to find the reason to ensure young hero's safety. The middle-aged man said in a deep voice, You're really shameless. Lin Xian sneered. What did you say? The middle-aged man was angry. He stared at Lin Xian with an unkind expression. Young man, be careful with your words. You should know that you can't just say anything. Some words will cost you your life if you say them. Threatening me? Lin Xian closed his folding fan and said in a clear voice, I think there's no need for your Colosseum to continue operating. He turned his head and looked at the onlookers. I think all of you are clear about what happened today. You just didn't dare to say it because of some people's influence. But I'll say it for you. This battle was obviously set up by the Colosseum to curry favor with others. From the very beginning, they didn't let others fight. They specifically let the people they selected to fight. Not only that, they also suppressed the strength of the golden feather divine eagle, making it weak. All the experts here can see this. They obviously want to give the golden feather divine eagle away. If they want to give it away, they can just do it secretly. But to use it as a competition to deceive all the warriors and play with them in the palm of their hand, is this the way of the Colosseum? What's funny is that this genius Chin is really trash. He can't even take away the things in his hands. However, when I went on the stage, they secretly let the beast tamers control the demon beasts, making them go crazy and attack without any regard for their lives. They even wanted to make the golden feather divine eagle self-destruct. Fortunately, I stopped it and successfully subdued it. But how did they do it? I think everyone saw it. They sealed the space, forcibly captured the golden feather divine eagle, and even wanted to imprison me. If it wasn't because I have some strength, I'm afraid I would have already been killed by them. Lin Xian said coldly, Such a Colosseum, do you dare to go? They only allow their people to obtain the demon beasts. If the others win, they will be killed. Do you dare to come? Aren't you afraid of being killed by them one day? Lin Xian's words were sharp, and his voice was vast and mighty. The surrounding warriors were discussing noisily. Indeed, they had all seen what happened today. They weren't fools, so they could naturally understand what happened. And this young scholar's words weren't wrong at all. Presumptuous, a bunch of nonsense. The middle-aged man was furious. He shouted coldly, "Men, capture this person who is spreading lies to mislead the crowd." Huff, huff, huff. Suddenly, countless figures flew out from the Colosseum and formed a huge encirclement surrounding Lin Xian. "What's wrong? You've been exposed and now you're angry?" Lin Xian sneered. "Humph, brat, no matter what you say. Today is the day you die." Lung Yu roared ferociously. He had a stomach full of anger, and only by killing the other party could he vent his anger. Seeing this tense scene, the crowd of warriors frowned even more. This divine wind Colosseum was really too overbearing. Did they really think that ordinary warriors like them were easy to bully? Chapter 795. Seeing this tense scene, the crowd of martial artists frowned even more. This divine wind war beast castle was really too overbearing. Did they really think that ordinary martial artists were easy to bully? "I think the fault doesn't lie with this young hero," someone said. "Yes, I think the war beast castle should apologize," another expert said. With someone taking the lead, these onlookers also became unyielding. One by one, they shouted angrily and loudly berated the war beast castle. The people of the war beast castle were dissatisfied at first and wanted to suppress them. However, they underestimated the power of the crowd. Although the individual strength of these martial artists was weak, they were a powerful force when combined. Rebel, all rebel. The middle-aged man was trembling with anger. Lung Yu clenched his fists and stared at Lin Xian. His eyes were full of murderous aura. It was all because of this hateful brat in front of him who ruined his perfect plan. Unforgivable, absolutely unforgivable. Feeling the murderous aura, Lin Xian turned his head and revealed a trace of disdain at the corner of his mouth. "You dare to make a move?" Damn it. Lung Yu's face was ashen. He really didn't have the confidence and didn't dare to make a move. The other party could easily break the defensive array. He was definitely a powerhouse. Even the elders of the family might not be able to do this. Lung Yu took a deep breath and said to the martial artists of the war beast castle beside him, "Kill him for me." "You want to kill him? You have to ask if we agree first." The crowd of martial artists were angry and fought back. Each and every one of them looked agitated. "Apologize! You must apologize for this matter. If you dare to touch him, you will be our enemy." A group of people stood in front of Lin Xian and berated angrily. Lung Yu was stunned. He didn't understand why these people were so agitated. This matter had nothing to do with them. However, these martial artists who were usually timid were as if they were injected with chicken blood and refused to budge an inch. How could he know that this time the war beast castle's approach was too excessive? Not only did they target Lin Xian, but they also didn't let these ordinary martial artists dare to be safe. If the war beast castle killed Lin Xian today, then the ones who would die tomorrow would most likely be them. If they couldn't suppress the arrogant attitude of the war beast castle and bully martial artists, then their situation would be very dangerous in the future. That was why these people rose up in revolt. It could be said that this time the war beast castle not only touched the interests of Lin Xian, but also the interests of all the ordinary martial artists. Lung Yu was also afraid when she heard the angry shouts of the several hundred people. Her expression was extremely ugly. Chinda, on the other hand, was even more unbearable. He was so scared that he peed his pants and hid in a corner, not daring to come out. The middle-aged man from the war beast castle was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He didn't expect this scene at all. He originally thought that killing a little thief wouldn't be difficult at all, but from the looks of it now, it was impossible to implement. Elder, what should we do? A disciple of the War Beast Castle asked. Retreat. The middle-aged man gritted his teeth and said, Retreat. Once the order was given, those War Beast Castle's people retreated and confronted those excited people. Little thief, I don't know what kind of demonic technique you have to be able to incite these people. But remember, the golden feathered divine eagle is a demonic beast on the earth ranking. It's not that easy to take it. If you return it now, I can pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Although you are fine today, but in the future. The middle-aged man threatened. In fact, his heart was bleeding. The reason why he was so furious was because his plan to curry favor with the Chen family had failed. Moreover, the golden feathered divine eagle was very precious. It was a demonic beast ranked 97th on the earth ranking. Any demonic beast that could be ranked on the earth ranking was not ordinary. And those that could enter the top 100 were even more rare and exotic beasts. This golden feathered divine eagle was ranked 97th on the earth ranking. Although it hadn't grown up, its potential was limitless. It was also a treasure in their War Beast Castle. Originally, they wanted to bribe Chinda. They didn't expect that Lin Xian would benefit from it. You don't need to worry about whether I can keep it or not. Lin Xian said indifferently, Humph, let's go. The middle-aged man's eyes were gloomy and cold. He waved his sleeve and brought a group of martial artists back to the War Beast Castle. However, he secretly decided that he would release the news of the golden feathered divine eagle. Even if he couldn't get it, he wouldn't let the other party get it. The people of the War Beast Castle left. Those martial artists in the surroundings cheered. Many of them congratulated Lin Xian. Brother, you are too strong. You actually subdued the golden feathered divine eagle in one move. That's nothing. The martial skill that broke the defensive formation in one sword move is amazing. I'm afraid that even the elders of the War Beast Castle can't do it. May I ask which force brother is from? Everyone started asking questions one after another. Lin Xian replied with a smile. Then he said to everyone, Thank you for your help just now. Let's go and have a drink. Let's go. A group of people left in a grandiose manner. At the same time, the Divine Wind War Beast Castle used the power in their hands to spread the news of the golden feathered divine eagle. It immediately caused quite a stir. Many forces were envious, especially those young martial artists. They were even more excited. This kind of exotic beast was still a cub. It was the best battle pet. If they could get it, it would be a great help in the future. Therefore, everyone moved and quickly looked for the golden feathered divine eagle in the city. On the other side, Lin Xian and the rest came to a restaurant. Everyone rushed in, and immediately the restaurant was crowded. Fortunately, this is a big restaurant. It was enough to accommodate everyone. Lin Xian and the rest ordered wine and dishes. They gathered together and drank to their heart's content. In the end, everyone drank until they were satisfied and left. Lin Xian bid farewell to everyone and returned to the courtyard that he secretly rented. Brother Xian, you are back. Yu Fei came out to welcome him. Hey, what is this? What a terrifying demonic beast. He felt the smoke-like, demonic aura from the other party's body and immediately exclaimed, Golden feathered divine eagle, a kind of exotic beast. Let's talk inside. Lin Xian said. After that, he entered the courtyard and told Yu Fei everything that happened before. This Lung family is really too much. Yu Fei was furious. Brother Xian, do you want to bring people here and destroy the Lung family? No rush. Lin Xian waved his hand. Now is not the time. The Wansheng auction is getting closer, and there are more and more experts in the city. At this time, we can't have a big conflict. This auction is very important to me, so I can't lose it. So we're just going to let it go. Yu Fei was unwilling to give up. Let it go. How is that possible? Lin Xian sneered. Wait until the auction is over, then we'll deal with them. Next, Lin Xian asked Yu Fei to secretly gather information about the Lung and Huang families. Only when he understood the other party's strength would he be able to make a move. Phew, Ben Huang is suffocating. The crimson dragon was like a loach as it quickly ran out of the demonic beast pouch. The snow-white monkey also came out. After they came out, they stared at the golden feathered divine eagle. Puff, puff, puff. The golden feathered divine eagle, who had its head held high and its chest puffed out, trembled in fear when it saw the crimson dragon and the snow-white monkey. It kept retreating. The aura of the two beasts made it instinctively afraid. This was not from their strength, but from the pressure in its blood and soul. It was as if there was an irresistible force that made it worship them. Chapter 796. The golden-feathered condor trembled as if it was about to kneel down. It's been a long time since I've eaten a roasted condor wing. The crimson dragon was drooling. The golden-feathered condor trembled even more and almost fainted. Woogie Woogie the snow-white monkey jumped over and looked at it curiously. Then it jumped onto the condor's body with a swoosh, looking very happy. However, the golden-feathered condor was scared half to death. It crawled on the ground and didn't dare to move. All right, you two, stop scaring it. Lin Xian said helplessly. Silly bird, listen carefully. You're our little brother from now on. Ben Huang will help you if anyone dares to bully you. The crimson dragon waved its dragon claws and said. The golden-feathered condor nodded carefully. It no longer had the heroic appearance from before. It was like a docile little chick. Next, Lin Xian rested for 2 days before he went out again. After putting the golden-feathered condor into the demonic beast pouch, Lin Xian turned into a young scholar again. He waved the folding fan and appeared in the city. This time, he went to a tea house and ordered a pot of spiritual tea. He slowly tasted it. There were martial artists from all over the place gathered together and chatting with each other. I heard that there are many good things in the Wanxiang auction this time. There's even a half-earth rank artifact. Of course, I heard it's called the Lone Star Sword. Many swordsmen came this time for this sword. In addition, there was also a rare refining material like the phoenix blood copper. Everyone was discussing excitedly. However, what they talked about the most was still the matters within the city. Have you heard? A few days ago, someone caused a ruckus in the Divine Wind Warbeast Castle and won the golden-feathered condor. Golden-feathered condor? The beast that's ranked 97th on the Earth ranking? Someone was shocked. Yes, although it's just a beast now, it'll definitely be terrifying when it grows up in the future. What's going on? How could the Divine Wind Warbeast Castle be willing to let such a beast out? There's nothing they can do. I heard that it's a young scholar who's very strong. Although his cultivation was suppressed, he still has the strength of a venerable. That's why he won the beast. Everyone was discussing fervently. I'm guessing that this scholar must be from some great power. He might also be a genius. Yeah, I heard that even the students of Senma College are no match for him. Many people began to guess the other party's identity. Thud, thud, thud. At this moment, a loud sound echoed in the tea house like a bell and drum. His voice wasn't loud, but it reached everyone's ears clearly, as if he was right beside them. However, in the next moment, some people began to tremble because that voice became extremely demonic. It was as if a lightning hammer smashed into their hearts, making them tremble. Many of the weaker martial artists had flushed faces, as if they had suffered internal injuries. Soon, there was a voice at the top of the stairs. This was a youth dressed in red. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his eyes were long and narrow. They were extremely bright, like sword radiance, incomparably fierce. He was like a sword god, standing there, giving people a sense of oppression. What genius, scholar! That's because he hasn't seen me yet. If he does, I'll suppress him with one hand. The youth had a handsome face and a tall figure, but his words were very sharp, making people frown. Behind him were 6 beautiful women. Each of them was holding a sword in their arms. Some were simple and unadorned, while others were luxurious. Obviously, those 6 treasured swords were all famed swords. At this moment, an oval-faced girl walked out from behind him. She came to the nearest table and said coldly, "My young master has requisitioned this table. Leave quickly." The girl's voice was cold. Then she threw out a bag of spirit stones. F***CK, what do you take us for? Beggars? Do you really think we're pushovers? Those people were originally heroes of the pugilistic world and had fierce temperaments. Now that they encountered such a situation, they were naturally furious. Clang! Clang! A few of them drew their swords. Their eyes were ferocious as they looked at the oval-faced girl. "You overestimate yourselves," the oval-faced girl sneered. Then she waved her jade-like hand and struck out a series of mysterious palm shadows in the air. They were like floating lights, extremely mysterious. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, the 3 people in front of the table screamed and flew out of the window. The whole process was very fast. In the blink of an eye, the table was emptied. Then 2 more youths came from behind. They formed hand seals and formed a cloud of mist to clean the entire table. Then they took out handkerchiefs and carefully wiped the table. "Young master, please sit." "Okay." The red-clothed young man grunted and then slowly sat down. The 6 girls began to get busy. One took out spirit tea, one took out spirit liquid, and one took out a high-quality purple teapot and began to brew tea. The teapot was not big, but it emitted a purple light. It was actually a treasure. Looking at the extravagant and domineering red-clothed young man, many people's eyelids twitched. Needless to say, this was another genius from a large faction. Lin Xian sat in the corner and looked at this scene. He frowned slightly. He did not expect to see this group of people again. The red-clothed young man's ostentation shocked many people, but there were some who were not convinced. They sneered and said, "You're too arrogant." As far as I know, there are very few martial artists in the spirit-detecting realm who can exert the strength of a venerable. That scholar is definitely a genius. I don't know what kind of ability you have to say such words. How dare you speak to my young master like that? The oval-faced girl, Qian Qian, shouted coldly. What am I wrong? The martial artist sneered. Do you think you're strong just because you're ostentatious? Humph. The red-clothed young man snorted coldly. It was like a clap of thunder that made many people's blood boil, especially the martial artist who spoke. His body was trembling and his face was full of shock. It's just a cross-realm battle. What's the big deal? You're really a frog at the bottom of a well. I could have easily won a battle like this 3 years ago. Now, one hand is enough to beat him. The red-clothed young man was very confident and domineering. What big words! That scholar is very young and looks like he's not even 20 years old. His strength is probably at the 2nd level of the venerable realm. He's not invincible among the younger generation, but he's probably a top expert. How can you suppress such a person? Ignorant. How can you guess my strength? The red-clothed young man, Hong Wuji, said disdainfully. I can still suppress a 2nd-level venerable realm. Hearing this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Looking at the red-clothed young man, it didn't seem like he was pretending. Could it be that he really had such ability? May I ask which faction you're from? Someone asked. Trash, like you don't deserve to know. The red-clothed young man said arrogantly. You. That person was furious, and his face alternated between green and red. Obviously, he didn't expect the other party to be so arrogant and directly humiliate him. Such big words at such a young age. You have to know that only a genius who grows up will be a powerhouse in the future. An old man snorted. He was very dissatisfied with the red-clothed young man's attitude. You don't have the right to judge whether I can grow up or not, Hong Wuji said disdainfully. But I know that at least I won't be like you, living for so long and only being a first-level venerable realm. If I were you, I would have killed myself. Chapter 797. Hong Wuji's words made the elder tremble in anger. He had lived for 200 years, but his cultivation was only at first-level honorable realm. That was indeed his pain, but now it was actually exposed in public. This was a slap to his face. Moreover, it was an arrogant junior. Let me see what right you have to be arrogant. The elder snorted and stretched out his palm, forming a mountain that pressed down quickly. The entire space cracked as if it was about to crack. The mountain formed by the palm was real and terrifying. Its power was even heavier than the real mountain. Thousands of waves surged and pressed down on Hong Wuji. Clown, I'll let you know what it means to be a young genius today. Hong Wuji sneered. He sat there and continued to drink tea, but his left hand was like a sword that stabbed upward. A ray of sword chi was as bright as a divine light. It was sharp and terrifying, and it instantly slashed the mountain. Crack, crack, crack. A low rumbling sound spread out. Countless cracks appeared on the huge, mountain-like palm, and they rapidly spread out like a python web. Bang! In the end, the mountain exploded and turned into spiritual chi that disappeared. The elder snorted and took a few steps back, his face full of shock. His right palm had been deformed, and blood kept flowing out as if it had been cut by a divine sword. The surrounding martial artists were even more shocked. A casual attack had seriously injured a first-level honorable realm. The red-clothed youth's strength was too terrifying. He was at least a second-level honorable realm, or even stronger. Now, do you believe that I can suppress any scholar with one hand? Hong Wuji said confidently. This guy is really arrogant. The crimson dragon in his sleeve was furious. Kid, I can't take it anymore. Its body changed shape, turning into a palm-sized snake that quickly slithered away. You're really shameless. You think you're invincible after injuring a first-level honorable realm? A disdainful voice was heard. I think you're the frog at the bottom of the well. Everyone was shocked when they heard that. The red-clothed youth had already proven his strength, but now he dared to speak rudely to him. He must be an expert. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a blue-clothed youth drinking tea alone with his back facing them. Although it was only his back view, his calm and steady aura showed that he was extraordinary. Injuring a first heaven venerable realm cultivator is nothing. It's just that there aren't any more powerful cultivators here. Otherwise, we could all suppress them together. Hong Wuji was still as arrogant as ever. As for you, if you're not convinced, then feel free to attack. I will let you know the definition of a genius. Insolent, too insolent. Lin Xian's face was also gloomy. This guy was really arrogant. He really wanted to walk over and kick him in the face. The crimson dragon that was coiled around Lin Xian's hair howled in anger. F***CK, Ben Huang is so angry. Despite living for so long, he had never seen such an arrogant fellow before. At this moment, someone asked, May I know your name? This was a young man who had also reached the first level of the honorable realm. Furthermore, he was at the peak of the first level of the honorable realm. It could be said that he was also a young genius. Yes, you are qualified to know. The red-clothed young man nodded slightly. Remember my name, Hong Wuji. Hong Wuji. Is he from the Red Leaf Valley? Everyone was shocked, but then they came to a realization. No wonder he's so arrogant and powerful. So he's from the Red Leaf Valley. At the same time, everyone was even more shocked. A peak first level of the Honorable Realm was only qualified to know his name. Just how powerful was this red-clothed young man? Hong Wuji? The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. Never heard of him. As for the Red Leaf Valley, I've even less heard of it. Judging from the name, could it be some kind of tourist attraction? Hey, red-clothed young man, how much is the ticket to your house? A mocking and teasing voice echoed in the tea house. This voice was strange, but no one dared to laugh. Someone actually dared to joke about the Red Leaf Valley. How arrogant! As expected, Hong Wuji's face darkened as soon as this was said. His entire body emitted a terrifying, murderous aura. Countless sword rays formed in the air, densely packed and filling the entire space. The terrifying aura made one's scalp tingle and tremble. The maid also shouted angrily, "How dare you insult the Red Leaf Valley? You're courting death." The oval-faced girl and the round-faced girl dashed out at the same time. Their bodies were like lightning as they rushed toward Lin Xian. The aura on their bodies was powerful, and they carried the power of their martial souls. Everyone was shocked. They had thought that these 6 girls were ordinary maids, but they did not expect them to be martial arts experts. Their cultivation had definitely reached the first level of the Honorable Realm. To have 6 first-level Honorable Realm maids as maids, this red-clothed young man was really generous. In the blink of an eye, the 2 girls arrived behind Lin Xian. They waved their jade-like hands, striking out dazzling palm shadows. The terrifying aura made everyone tremble. However, Lin Xian did not turn around. He struck back, and his terrifying spiritual energy turned into a golden mountain peak that quickly pushed out. The void trembled as if thousands of beasts were galloping. The terrifying golden mountain peak carried a huge force and collided with the countless palm shadows. This attack made the entire tea house tremble as if it was about to split open. There were countless experts in Wind-Seeking City, and the owner of this tea house was also a martial arts expert. Naturally, he had defensive measures. Rays of colorful light surged out and quickly formed a defense to protect the tea house. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief and looked up to watch the battle in front of them. The Golden Mountain Peak was extremely powerful. It was like a giant beast that had appeared. When the terrifying and mysterious palm shadows hit it, they did not cause any impact. Instead, the rebounding force scattered the palm shadows that filled the sky. In the blink of an eye, the oval-faced girl and the other girl were pushed back by a huge force. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 of them kept retreating. Every step they took could crack the ground. However, at this moment, mysterious patterns appeared on the ground, forming a screen of light. The terrifying power was negated, and the entire tea house was preserved. The oval-faced girl and the other girl stopped with difficulty. Then they looked up and their eyes were filled with shock. Although they were just maids, they were definitely first-level Honorable Realm experts in terms of strength. Furthermore, they were the strongest among first-level Honorable Realm experts. When the 2 of them joined forces, they were able to fight against a second-level Honorable Realm expert. However, they could not block a single attack from the other party. This was simply too unbelievable. The crowd gasped. They were originally mourning for that person, but they did not expect that person to not even move his body. He only struck back and forced the 2 experts to retreat. Now, the crowd could not even see his face. They could only see his back view. However, at this moment, his back view was like a boundless mountain that the crowd could only look up to. Set up the sword formation. The oval-faced girl and the other girl wanted to join forces with the other 6 to set up the sword formation. Hong Wuji did not stop them. He stared coldly at the other party's back view. Countless sword shadows appeared in the sky, emitting a terrifying aura. It was as if they would fall at any time. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.